Ms. Porter is not in agreement to pay support to Mr. Reese Sewell and would actually like the child returned to her.
The CPS worker that we had was under investigation. This has been emotional for me. I deal with depression and anxiety now. I am the sole provider for my household. I just want to get this over with. I just want my kid back.
Sewell married child, non-custodial party being Antoinette Porter, custodial party being Derek Lee Sewell Reese.
The state is asking for temporary orders at this time. It's the state's understanding that parents have a few agreements on this case other than they are the parents of the child subject of the suit, and neither is asking for DNA testing. Additionally, Your Honor, testimony will show that the child is currently with Mr. Reese Sewell, and that has been the case since December of 2022. Documentary evidence will show that CPS did get involved in this action, and Mr. Reese Sewell was a person who they allowed to pick up the child when the child was not in Ms. Porter's care. However, CPS didn't do anything else after allowing Mr. Reese Sewell to pick up the child. And at this point, Your Honor, it appears that Ms. Porter is not in agreement to pay support to Mr. Reese Sewell and would actually like the child returned to her. Based on that, Your Honor, the state's understanding is the court would likely appoint an ad litem for the child in this case to get to the heart of the matter if we were going to finalize all of this.
All right, let's get some testimony on these circumstances dealing with the child being with dad. I'm sorry. I did note on notice on the service citation there was an FBI indicator on there, so I don't need mom to testify to her address, but I do need her to testify to her whereabouts and whether or not she's even in the state of Texas at this time. And I'll get some general information as far as her last contact cell, that kind of stuff, through the general testimony at this time. So, folks, I've had a lot of cases lately where CPS has got initially involved and didn't do anything else where they normally, in the good old days, used to. So now, more than likely, we'll have to appoint the child a lawyer, let that lawyer do the investigation and make recommendations going forward. But for right now, I want the state to give me some questions verifying that the father has had the child. It sounds like more than a little bit more than a year. The child is in Texas, and get some information on where mom is, because again, those are all factors on what I can do here today, one way or the other. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and ask both of you to raise your right hands, please. The whole truth is nothing but the truth, so help you.
I do.
Yes. All right, you're both officially under oath, and I'm going to go ahead and allow the state to call you both as witnesses, and we'll take it from there. Ms. Bongak, call your first witness, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Mr. Reese Sewell. Sir, what is your full name?
Derek Lee Sewell is what I go by. Reese is my father's name, and it's just added on there for the child support purposes as well.
And what is your legal last name, sir?
Sewell, Sewell.
And who is the child in this case?
Shanier Lynette Porter Sewell.
How are you related to the child?
I'm her dad.
Who is her mother?
Miss Antoinette Porter.
And sir, at this time, who does she live with, your daughter?
She lives with me.
How long has it been since you got her in your possession?
I got her, it was December of 2022, I believe. And she's been with me nonstop ever since.
And sir, at that point, how did your daughter come to live with you?
I got a call from a CPS worker saying my daughter was with an unauthorized person for at least 2 to 3 months. And I argued with them because I was visiting with my daughter just prior to that, maybe a week. And I told him that I dropped her back off with her mom, but I guess she was taking her back to this lady. Well, I got in touch with CPS and they told me that basically nothing bad had happened to my daughter, but the lady needed help and they couldn't. Well, I guess they contacted Antoinette and she cussed them out, and I agree.
So stop. Okay. You can't testify to anything someone else told you about Miss Porter, only what you actually saw, sir. So
all right.
Okay.
All right. No problem.
Okay. The state could proceed with the next question. Thank you.
Can I finish what I was saying?
No, sir.
One
not-
second, Mr.
Okay, no problem, no problem, no problem.
Sir, what city and state does your daughter live in right now?
We stay in Temple, Texas.
Is that the same place that you picked her up from?
No,
Where did you pick her up from?
the CPS worker gave me an address that was located in Coppers Cove, Texas. I drove down there. Nobody was there at first. The lady contacted me who had my daughter, and she told me she would meet me there. She pulled up in a car. She had multiple kids with her. She had 4 or 5 different kids
Hey,
with her.
sir. Hey, I know you got a lot you want to tell me, Mr. Sewell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, but one question at a time. Right now is the state's trying to verify that this child came in your possession in the state of Texas, and my understanding is.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Coppers Cove, Texas. Is that correct?
Coppers Cove, Texas. Yes,
In
sir.
December 2022.
That's where I picked her up from. I don't even remember this lady's name because I was so upset. But
You're getting ahead of the question. The state now has the next question to ask. Thank you. You may proceed.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sewell, you said that you'd had visitation with your daughter a few weeks prior to CPS contacting you. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In what city and state did that visitation occur?
Temple, Texas.
And how involved, if at all, was Ms. Porter with that visitation you exercised prior to CPS calling you?
She was involved. She dropped her off. Either I dropped her off and she picked her up, or vice versa. And that's how the visitation would go when Miss Porter had Chenier. Either I would drop her off, or we would exchange her, and then I would give her back after maybe 2 to 3 days.
Okay, Mr. Sewell, backing up to when your daughter was born, at that time, were you and Miss Porter living in the same household?
Yes.
And at what point, sir, did the two of you stop living together?
I can't remember the exact point, but I can't remember the exact date, but I would have to say it was I know it was before 2022 for sure, because I got you there in 2022. It was at least a year or two prior to that.
And sir, at the point that you and she stopped living together, which of you had Chenier?
She did. She had Chenier.
Okay.
When we first stopped living together.
Got it, sir. Since your daughter has been with you since December of 2022, thanks to CPS, has Ms. Porter gotten any visitation?
No. Honestly, CPS told me.
Okay, sir. Again, the answer is yes or no.
No.
Okay.
No.
Good enough. And the state will flesh it out if necessary. You may proceed, Ms. Bongad.
And sir, was that a result of communications between you and Ms. Porter, or was that dictated by somebody else like CPS?
Thank you, Miss Lady. That was dictated by CPS. They told me that if I would allow her to go back to her, they wanted to interview her first, just like I allowed them to do to me. Come in my home, take pictures, and all that. And they told me that if I wanted to give Chenier back to Miss Porter, contact them. They would do the interview. If she passed, they didn't have a problem with that. But I'll let her tell you what she did, because I don't want him to say I'm saying too much or going outside of the
Yeah, you have,
go ahead.
I'll let you go on that one, sir. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As a result of CPS's involvement, Mr. Sewell, you were sent a letter by that agency. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that letter is something that you then turned over to the Attorney General's office?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Sewell, do you have any objection to the court reviewing that document?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Your Honor, at this time, state offers on behalf of Mr. Sewell a letter that was provided to the Attorney General's office. This was also sent to Ms. Porter via email today.
All right, Ms. Porter, this has been marked as CP respondents number 1. Is there a legal reason I should not be able to review this letter at this time, ma'am?
No.
All right, CP respondent fathers number 1 is admitted. You may proceed, Ms. Bongad.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Mr. Sewell, you had an opportunity to see what was sent to your email, correct, sir?
You want me to look at my email right now? I'm sorry.
Not a problem if it's not available, sir, but on that document that the judge just put up to the camera, the state had
Okay.
included a sticker, CP Exhibit 1, meaning you, custodial parent Exhibit 1. And then below that, there appears to be a stamp from the Attorney General's office. And then underneath your name, where the address would be, that's actually been lined out just because this is a case where non-disclosure has been pled for.
Yes, ma'am.
Aside from those three changes, sir, would you agree that that was 4 pages you sent to the Attorney General's office?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I do.
Okay. And sir, was that the last communication you had with CPS regarding your daughter?
Contacted them a couple times after that because she was threatening to come over here and get her, and I know I didn't have a complete order, so I didn't know how to handle it, and they told me they would support me in any way if she ever came by, that they call them and they would do whatever they could to make sure things didn't get out of hand. Let's just put it like that.
And Mr. Sewell, with this case with CPS, you all never had any court dates or meetings between you, your daughter, and Miss Porter?
No, ma'am. Reason being, they said there was no physical harm to her. They just wanted to make sure she was in the right with the parent, and that's why they contacted me. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At this time, sir, how does your daughter have health coverage?
I tried to put her on my health coverage through my job. I don't have her social, and I've contacted her mom about that, and it never got sent to me. So she hasn't been sick, so I haven't got her to the hospital. I was hoping to put her on my insurance, but I will need her social security information. It's just everybody is giving me the cold shoulder when it comes to that.
And sir, how old is your daughter right now?
She's 4 years old. She turned 4 in September, this past September.
Does she attend any type of daycare or other schooling?
No, I pay for a babysitter out of pocket. She starts school. Well, her birthday is just a little too late for her to start this year, so she'll be starting regular school next year.
And sir, with regard to support from Miss Porter, is that something you and she have ever discussed?
I used to discuss it in the earlier months. In the earlier months, she did send a $100 payment, but besides that, I got to the point to where I just stopped asking because she's not going to send anything, and that's cool. And when that's just the point I'm at.
Sir, do you have any other children besides Shanier?
Yes, one of my sons is in college. I have 3 other kids I pay child support for. I'm pretty sure Mr. Nelson, he knows about that case.
Okay. And sir, other than what CPS had told you about restricting Miss Porter's access, do you have any other concerns about her time with your daughter?
I do have concerns about because I believe her to be in another state, and I just don't want to have to. I had to go get my son from another state, and I just don't want to have to go through that kind of stuff again. I do feel like she needs to be involved in Shanir's life. She does need to see her, visit with her, and that'll be up to her though. She did threaten to give her rights away, which is why I don't even understand why she's trying to contest this right now. And that worries me because sometimes I wonder if she really on Shanir's side, and I mean I am, and I hope she is, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. And sir, with regard to your physical address, is that something you've already shared with Miss Porter?
Yes, ma'am. She's been to my apartment, I believe, before in the past.
And so, sir, do you have any concerns about your physical address appearing in the court's order?
No, ma'am, no problem. That you can do that.
And going forward, sir, do you have any problem updating Ms. Porter if any of your information, including phone number or email address, changes?
No, ma'am, I'm not. I don't have any concerns.
And so with your concern about the being out of state, sir, it was more a problem about taking your child and not getting her returned to you, correct?
Well, I knew I couldn't give her back to her until I talked to y'all because I needed to get a final order. So that was my first piece of business. And my second piece of business, she would call from time to time and say that, you think I can get Shanair back? And I would have to tell her, no, she had the same opportunity that I had. And I guess she chose to go the other way. So with that being said, if she does want to see her, there needs to be something in place to where she just can't try to take off with her. And I need to make sure that Shanair is straight. That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay. And sir, earlier you'd said if she didn't pay support, that was cool. Are
Well,
you
well,
actually asking for back child support in this case?
You can say-
I'm asking for the back child support
Sorry, Your
for the
Honor.
year that I've had her.
Sir, stop. Ms. Bond,
Okay.
you can save that for final. We're not gonna deal with it. We're only gonna deal
Okay.
with, this is a temporary order. We'll deal with all the back issues when we have a final hearing, because obviously I'm giving the child a lawyer based on the CPS involvement. I just need to for you to go ahead and finish getting the testimony from both parties. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Or temporary order. Thank you.
Understood. At this time, Your Honor, I pass Mr. Sewell.
All right, Mr. Sewell, be back to you in a minute. Call your next witness, please.
The state calls Ms. Porter. Ma'am, what is your full name?
My name is Antoinette Shadrick Porter, or hyphen Jefferson. I got married last year.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Does your current identification card indicate Porter hyphen Jefferson?
No, it's just Porter right now.
Okay. And ma'am, is it correct that you are Shanir's biological mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to hear my opening statement to the court?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you agree that there were those few agreed issues, everything else is in contest?
Yes.
And were you able to hear Mr. Sewell's testimony, ma'am?
Yes.
Was there anything about how he got possession of your daughter that you disagree with?
Yes.
Okay. So what specifically, ma'am, was it that you say was inaccurate about CPS's involvement and him getting her?
When CPS got involved, I was currently homeless, living in my truck. The lady who had her is my godmother, and I was living in my truck outside of her home, but my daughter was living inside of the home. The day CPS was called, I was not able to get there. I was at work, so I gave them his number.
And ma'am, since he obtained possession of her, have you and he ever spoken about your visitation or getting her back?
I've asked him on multiple occasions to get her back. He told me no. I've asked to get her to see her. He's told me no. I haven't
And-
seen her in over 13 months, personally, physically.
Yes, ma'am. Did CPS ever, or sorry, did you or CPS ever reach out to each other about the interview or changing the situation?
So because of the CPS worker that we had was under investigation.
Okay,
she had
ma'am, that's not
step away from-
that's not the question. I know everybody wants to tell me stuff that's not in their side of the story. Unfortunately, the state asked you a separate question.
Yes, that's
which we need to
because
ask.
it wasn't the CPS worker, it was their supervisor. That's what I was getting to.
All right.
So there was contact between you and a supervisor, not the caseworker?
Yes, ma'am. The supervisor had reached out to me and told me not to further contact Derek Sewell because it was getting very out of hand.
When was that communication made between you and the supervisor?
Back in maybe November of 2022 or December. It was the same week of the incident that CPS was called.
Okay. And ma'am, my understanding is you were not in agreement to paying support for your daughter at this time. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Are you currently employed?
I was at orientation today. They rescheduled me because I've been in court all day. I'm not currently employed right now, but I am the sole provider for my household.
And ma'am, how many people are in your...
I'm sorry, you went out.
Yes, ma'am. How many people are in your household right now?
Go ahead, counsel. Sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And how many of those 5 people are children?
3.
And are all 3 under the age of 18?
Yes.
Let's see, what was I going to ask you? What city and state are you living in right now?
I currently reside in Shreveport. I work in Texas.
Okay.
I work in Texas.
Was there anything else, Ms. Porter, you wanted the court to consider at this time, keeping in mind that these are going to be temporary orders?
I haven't seen her in 13 months. I've talked to her all of probably 3 or 4 times, and each time she's asked me to come get her. This has been emotional for me. I deal with depression and anxiety now. I am the sole provider for my household. I just want to get this over with, and I just want my kid back. I'm not trying to make it hard for anybody. I just went through a hard time, and I reached out to him, and I asked for help, and I couldn't get it. So I did what I thought was best. That's all.
Porter, does your daughter with Mr. Sewell know her half siblings?
Yes, she knows all of them.
What are their ages, please?
11, 10, and 8.
Do you have any family or in Texas or plans to visit Mr. Sewell's area anytime soon?
Yes, my grandmother's in Texas. I'm supposed to be moving back to Texas this year, and I'm going to be moving with her, so I can be closer to Shamir.
What city or county is she in, ma'am?
My grandmother, Tarrant.
And that would be a move for your entire 5-person household?
Yes, ma'am.
When you said this year, do you know what part of 2024 you were looking at?
It's supposed to be the end of this month. If not the end of this month, it's going to be the end of February for sure.
And ma'am, what type of work will you be doing with the orientation that was rescheduled today?
I will be working. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be working at a warehouse. I'll be a forklift driver.
Okay, got it. And ma'am, well, I'll save all of that for final hearing, but was there anything else, ma'am, you wanted the court to consider at this time?
No, ma'am.
And sorry, ma'am, I just thought of, do you have any concerns about your physical address appearing in the court's order?
I don't.
And are you comfortable updating Mr. Sewell with your information if any of it changes?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Your Honor, I pass this witness.
All right, ma'am, what was your understanding of the incident that took place that got CPS involved in your, in all this, please? What's your understanding?
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
So from my understanding, my godmother had 2 other children there, and one of the boys went to school and said something, and CPS got involved with the household. That was from my understanding.
All right, and how many of you, you said this child was living there and you were staying in your vehicle. How many of you, where were the children, ma'am?
I'm sorry?
Where were your other children, the older children, where were they?
They were with my mother.
In Tarrant County?
Yes, ma'am.
So the
Yes,
only
sir.
child in Bell County was the child that's before the court this time.
Yes, sir. She
Okay.
was my youngest.
All right, and after you left Bell County, ma'am, where did you move to? Which state and which city?
I moved to Shreveport.
Have you always lived in Shreveport since leaving in Bell County?
I went to Alaska for a while too, for work.
How long were you in Alaska?
For about 4 months.
And then after that, back to Shreveport?
Back to Texas.
And where in Texas?
Tarrant County, Fort Worth.
Okay. And how long? And that's back with your mother or grandmother? I'm sorry.
Yes.
All right. And how long did you stay there?
I've been here since I've been back from Alaska in September.
And that's you've been in Shreveport since September, right?
No, I've been here in Fort Worth. I reside in Shreveport. I work and I take the gigs because it's easier to pick up a gig or a job here. And I just send the money back home to my husband to pay bills or take care of the needs for the children or household.
Where's your husband right now? Where's he living?
He's in Shreveport.
And you right now, are you in Tarrant County or are you in Shreveport?
I'm in Tarrant County.
Okay, all right. It's understood where you were located, ma'am. And when are you going back to Shreveport?
I have to go move my family at the end of this month or the end of next month. We're just waiting on my grandmother's landlord to finish up her house.
All right, Ms. Bongat, any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, this is a closing statement, closing argument. Obviously, I'm looking at appointing the lawyer. I got a CPS thing here, so obviously I gotta get the child ad litem. I'm not sure what I want to do for visitation until I can, until I get a recommendation from the ad litem. So I'm looking at probably doing a quick turnaround with ad litem, give me a recommendation on what type of visitation, and see whether or not the ad litem wants to call the CPS worker in to testify at the next hearing. Anyway, any other witnesses the state have at this time?
No other witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, have you been doing any type of FaceTime visits with the child or anything like that in the last year?
Yes.
When do y'all normally do those and how often?
They're not very often. The last time I talked to her was before Christmas.
Okay,
It might have been like right around Thanksgiving, if I'm correct.
all right then, thank you. All right, any other witnesses, Ms. Bongak?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Reese Sewell, anything else, sir, you think I need to know before I give the child a lawyer?
Please do your due diligence when you do that investigation.
I'm not doing the investigation, sir, but the lawyer's doing
I'm saying, please just remind them that all they got to do is talk to the CPS worker, and everything will be revealed to you. Because you ain't asked me nothing, you ain't really asked her much. It seems like y'all just take people's word. Call the CPS worker, and everything will be revealed to you, and we can go ahead and close this case. It'll be easy, smooth.
Well, we'll see about that, sir. Again,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I sure hope so. But if y'all talk to them CPS people, this would be so easy. Because all that what she just said was false, and I have to go ahead and say that. It's hard for me not to say it. I'm talking about all that was false. She was not staying in front of that lady's house when I picked my daughter up.
Sir.
I know it's crazy. I don't want to hear the facts. I'm just trying to say some facts, and I can't even get them out. But it's okay. I'm gonna be quiet.
Stop.
Go ahead.
Stop.
Go ahead.
Okay, here's the deal. Sir, this is a court of law. And I know you're not a lawyer, but you're not doing it right. Okay? You're not doing this right. And I've got to go, everything in here has to be done in accordance with the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure and the law. And I give you a little leeway, but for right now, I'm going to go ahead and appoint the child a lawyer. I'm going to go ahead and have the lawyer complete the investigation. And if they feel it's in your child's best interest to call the CPS person to come in and testify, they will do so. So again, we're going to do it. We're doing it according to Hoyle. We're doing it by the law, sir. And
I agree.
So again, that's what we're going to do. And in the interim, I'm going to set up a temporary order. I'm not going to order any live visitation until the ad litem has done an initial investigation and makes an initial recommendations of what the visitation needs to be doing going forward. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead. And so I'm just asking you, is there anything else that you think is pertinent to for me to pass on to the ad litem at this time, sir?
You say you want to?
The ad litem's going to contact both of y'all and get y'all side of the story, and then she's going to contact CPS.
Okay.
And she's going to make recommendations, sir. So
yeah, no, I would love to talk to him.
All right. Anything else from you, Ms. Porter?
So you just said I'm still not gonna be able to see my kid after 13. I'm not gonna.
You wasn't worried about that when she was off the
Mr. Stop. I'm talking to her, not you. Ma'am, here's the deal. Okay, you're gonna go ahead and have your little fit, ma'am, and I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'm gonna rule what I'm gonna do. Yes, ma'am, I'm not gonna let you see this child until the investigation is finished on what CPS is alleged in this letter that I left in exhibit number 1. You were on an investigation by CPS, and they have had reason to find, and I'm going to read you directly from what they say and this is for Antoinette Porter, abandonment of the child, reason to believe. Antoinette Porter, physical neglect, reason to believe. Ma'am, those are serious allegations. Those are serious matters. And until I get some clarification of that and some further information on that from CPS and an investigation, no, ma'am, I'm going to give you FaceTime visits with the child weekly. The father's going to comply with those FaceTime visits. And but until I come back in here next month and have the ad litem do at least an initial investigation, I'm not going to order any live visits with the child until that is complete. And I'm considering that in your child's best interest. And if you want to act hysterical and go off the deep end on you, ma'am, that's really not going to help. I want people before me who are focused and not over emotional, because I didn't make these circumstances up, ma'am. These circumstances revolve around you and Mr. Sewell, and I've heard both of y'all's story, and I'm going to get the lawyer for the child to dig into these stories and see who's telling me the truth and who's not. So those are the circumstances, ma'am. You're the one that's been investigated by CPS, and they said they got a reason to believe, and that's that. So until I get that removed, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to name, and Ms. Bonga, I'm just going to stop it right here. I'm going to name the parties, both temporary joint management servitors. I'm giving dad the right to decide domicile. I'm not giving them mom any rights of the joint conservatorship until further order of the court, except the right, and I'm going to withhold the right to order child support even until the next hearing on this matter, because again, she doesn't appear to be working, and she does have the other kids. But I am looking at setting up temporary child support, setting this all up on a further temporary order next month. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and appoint, let's go with Mr. Brimhall on this one. I'm going to appoint Isaac Brimhall as the ad litem for the child in this matter. I'm going to go ahead and order that both parties going forward use AppClose. It's a free parenting app you can download to your phone. It's available both on Google Play and iTunes, and and it even has a FaceTime function. And I'm going to order that going forward that the mom have FaceTime visits with the child every Sunday, starting this Sunday at 6 p.m. and starting every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And that doesn't start this Wednesday because that's tomorrow. But I'm going to start this Sunday, and then going forward, both Sunday at 6 and Wednesdays at 7. Mom is to have FaceTime and do that FaceTime through AppClose. I'm going to go ahead and appoint Mr. Isaac Brimhall as the attorney ad litem for the child. Mr. Brimhall represents your daughter, not you, sir, not you, ma'am, and he will make recommendations going forward of what he thinks is in the best interest of your child as far as access, visitation, and who he feels should be the custodial party going forward. And I'm going to go ahead and reset this matter for a temporary order for him to do an initial investigation and make his recommendations on what mom should have as far as visitation going forward, starting next month. But I want to give him at least 30 days to investigate and get a hold of CPS and even call CPS as a witness for the next temporary hearing we have. All right, folks, here's the deal. The lawyer for your child is already going to be in this court on February the 15th. I'm resetting this matter for February the 15th for him to make recommendations to the court on what he has found as far as his investigation is concerned, and what he's the recommendations for visitation going forward. And obviously I'll make a ruling on temporary child support going forward. This type of case is not going to be one that's done in 30 days. I'm looking at you letting him do the initial circumstance or initial finding, and whether or not he wants to bring CPS in at that hearing to testify, and at that point make recommendations on what he feels is in his client's best interest as far as child support and visitation going forward. But I'm going to hold all that in abatement until until the 15th, and that's going to be the order of the court based on these circumstances. I'm not going to order any child support until but I am going to be looking at child support and looking at a guideline amount. So hopefully the mom is back in Texas by February the 15th, because I'm not going. Mr. Brimhall is not going to go. I'm not sending him into the Shreveport, Louisiana, to make a home study. But if he feels it's necessary, I will send him to Tarrant County, Texas, to make a home study of the other residents before he makes a recommendation for visitation with mom at that resident. So that's what I'm looking at. That's the norm. So I'll start with you, sir. Questions?
If she wants to visit with her daughter more, can she do that? Is that cool?
I'm not, again, we're not going to do visitation until we come back in February. And
no, I'm talking about on the FaceTime. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, okay. If y'all agree to anything beyond those 2 dates that you ordered to do, sir,
she can call every day.
Okay, well, sir, that's a little,
I would love for her to call every day. You know,
well, she
I
can
feel
call
like
if she won't, sir. But the bottom line is, you ordered to have the child available on Sundays and Wednesdays. Okay.
No problem. No problem. Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions, sir?
No, that was my only question.
All right. Now, Ms. Porter, questions, ma'am.
I have no questions.
All right, Mr. Porter, Ms. Porter, Mr. Sewell, is that you do have the state's permission to give the attorney for your child your contact information. In other words, your phone numbers and your email addresses.
Okay, appreciate you.
Does the state have your permission to give him that information?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Porter, Mr. Sewell, Ms. Porter said yes. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir. That's no problem.
All right, then the child's lawyer is going to be contacting both of you to start the investigation. If he hadn't contacted you by sometime in the next 10 days, you contact him because the information will be in there, but give him some time to get this information and a copy of everything in the court's file. All right.
No problem.
All right, guys, I'll see everybody back here on the 15th in the general docket, and I'll probably take you guys early, but hopefully by then, Mr. Brimhall will have his ducks in a row. And we'll at least go in with some temporary business and some temporary child support until everything is settled. And we get confirmation of where everybody, obviously, sir, you're in Temple, Texas, but Mom's back and forth between Shreveport. And by that date, I want to confirm that she is in Texas and living in Tarrant County or not.
No problem.
All right.
Cool deal.
All right. Anyway, we'll reset to that date, and I'm going to finish writing this one up. And anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you all very much. We're off the record.
Her boyfriend threatened everybody with a pistol. I just had the police report read to me by CPS the other day, too. He did threaten all the children and everything. It's in the police report. And the CPS agent, Christine, is the one that read it to me here the other day. But after he was bonded out from jail for doing that, she had him right back there living for the next 6.5 months. Didn't tell anybody that it happened. I filed a complaint with the court and I filed a complaint with FOC because why was I never told that this man is living with my son?
For the record, this matter is before the court on the plaintiff's continued motion to modify custody and parenting time. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. The present is Attorney Gerard Scanlon representing the plaintiff moving party. The plaintiff mother, Christina Bays. Ms. Bays appears to be present. Is Jeffrey Tuville present on audio? It appears that Mr. Tuville has not appeared this morning. The matter was scheduled for 9 a.m. It's now about 9:18 a.m. Mr. Tuville has not appeared. He's not contacted the court. Mr. Scanlon, have you or Ms. Bays had any contact from Mr. Tuville this morning?
No. May it please this honorable court, Gerard Scanlon, P number 74992, appearing on behalf of Ms. Bays. Good morning, Your Honor. No, I have not had any contact with him.
The court would note that Mr. Tuville did not appear at our last scheduled hearing, November 12th, at which time the court entered an order that may be adjourned today to today's date so the plaintiff could secure CPS reports and additional documents to support the allegations that there's been some issues in father's home that would merit a modification of custody or parenting time. Also present, good morning, Ms. Patrick.
Morning, Your Honor. As I would like to point out to the court, there also Ms. Cart has appeared. She is a Lucas County CPS worker.
Okay. Have you received any reports, Ms. Patrick, from Mr. Scanlon?
I have not, Your Honor.
Okay. Have you talked with this representative of Protective Services this morning?
I have, Your Honor.
And we've determined that is there a pending investigation?
The investigation has been concluded by Ms. Cart. She had indicated to me this morning, she has attempted to reach out to the defendant. He will not contact her. She was looking for a drug screen from the defendant. He did not cooperate. So she has attempted to contact him and he has made no contact with her.
Okay, if the court recalls, Mr. Scanlon, your client petitioned the court because the defendant father allegedly was involved in an altercation with his wife in the presence of the 6-year-old child. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Scanlon, was that the primary issue that prompted you to come before the court?
And I'm sorry, you broke up, Your Honor. That's the only reason
Right.
One of the reasons that we came before the court was because it was alleged that the defendant in this particular instance was consuming while in the presence of the minor children, which was disturbing. Also, there's new charges of domestic violence involving Mr. Tuville. where he had assaulted his current wife in the presence of the minor children as well. So those are the allegations that have brought us to court today. And the court has already pointed out that this is the second attempt to hold this hearing. At the last hearing, Mr. Sewell failed to show, despite being served and notified to be here. He is not here again today. And it is noted by Ms. Cart that he is not cooperating. Ms. Cart has asked him to submit to drug tests. He's failed to submit to those drug tests. She has asked him for contact in order to try and discuss the case, and he has failed to contact her as well.
All right. The court's notes reflect, and I want to verify, is this accurate, that the child has lived with the plaintiff mother since Halloween, and she's been transferred from Toledo schools to the Arbwood schools here in Monroe County. Is that correct, Mr. Scanlon?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Bays, has Mr. Sewell reached out, communicated with respect to parenting time?
No, he has not.
Had not any contact with him since Halloween or months?
No, he has not
Okay.
contacted me.
Court would note that this court entered an order just in January of this year, January 17th, 2024, where the court awarded joint legal and physical custody to defendant father, alternating weekends to mother. I don't recall, Ms. Patrick, what prompted that, a change of custody to defendant father.
I did see that order, but I am unsure of what prompted that change.
Mr. Scanlon, were you representing Ms. Bays back in January of this year when the court awarded physical custody to the defendant father?
I want to say I did not. I want to say that I had filed a motion to modify after that, which we had subsequently withdrawn. I think that's how it was. I think she was represented by someone else prior to that. But this is the second motion that I remember filing. And I think it was after the court had already entered that order. But I don't think I was representing her at that time. And if I'm wrong, I will stand corrected.
It appears that Mr. Musson from your office represented Ms. Bays.
Yeah, and he's no longer with our firm.
Yes. And so in August 24th, Mr. Musson appeared with the plaintiff and the defendant, and Attorney Kazmarek represented the defendant father. And the parties reached agreement at that time to vacate a trial date of October 5, 2023, with the custody to continue joint legal, but father to have primary possession of the minor child during the school year. So obviously there was issues. Mom had issues back then. Another order was entered in August of 2023. Mother's parenting time to be supervised by maternal grandmother. It appears that back then there were concerns that Miss Bays was not getting the child to school. There was concerns, yes, that the minor child had missed significant days of school, even though the school is only a half block away from where the defendant mother was residing. Miss Bays, are you getting your child to school every day?
Yes, go to school every day. Yes, sir.
With whom do you reside, Miss Bays? Do you still reside with the Miss Danny?
Yes.
Anyone else that lives in your home?
Nope.
Ms. Patrick, do you have any additional information regarding the history of this case in terms of why father's granted physical custody in late 2023?
I was looking at the file too, Your Honor. Let me take a look. I do see where the ex parte motion was filed.
That was in May 23. There's allegations that Danny Barnett was using drugs, including smoking crack in the home.
That was all cleared.
Yes. And then Ms. Cart is present this morning from Protective Services. Ms. Cart, have you had a chance to visit the home in which this minor child resides with Ms. Bays?
Yes, sir, I have.
Do you believe that environment to be appropriate for this child?
Yes, sir, I do.
For the record, could you just please state your name and occupation?
Sure. Erin Cart, assessment caseworker with Lucas County Children's Services in Toledo, Ohio.
Okay, that's Cart is spelled C-A-R-T-E. Thank you, Ms. Cart.
Yes.
Appreciate you appearing this morning. And you were originally involved because this child was living with dad in Lucas County, correct?
That is correct. Her and her siblings were listed as alleged child victims on my report.
Okay. What prompted your office to open a file and start an investigation?
We had received several calls to the agency regarding domestic disputes in the residence. We had screened out several of them, but we kept getting calls and concerns from police calls and reports. And we did eventually screen one in for an investigation. And it was when father was arrested and charged with the domestic violence charge.
And did it, as far as your understanding, did that alleged incident occur in the presence of the minor child?
Yes.
Okay. So is your recommendation that Ms. Bays petition the court to change possession of the child from the father to mother? Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
You did visit the home of, did you visit the home of Ms. Bays, or did you have someone from Monroe County Protective Services visit the home?
I personally went to the residence of Miss Bays.
And you found the home to be appropriate again for the child?
I did, and I also interviewed the child in the home of Miss Bays, in addition to a previous interview where I did with the child at her school.
Thank you. Thank you for your input, and thank you for appearing this morning. The court has received the fine recommendation from Ms. Patrick that the defendant's parenting time be reserved until he petitions the court. The minor child will continue to attend Hardwood schools. We should also add, Ms. Patrick, that the child should remain in the possession of the plaintiff mother. That the child shall attend Hardwood schools and remain in the possession of plaintiff mother. We're not modifying custody at this time.
I can modify that, Your Honor. I can
I suppose.
grant mom possession at this time.
Okay, what about the issue of custody? Should we address custody at this time? Obviously, the court normally likes to conduct an evidentiary hearing before modifying custody, but it appears Mr. Duval has now failed to appear on 2 occasions.
The first question that you had asked me is how this case has started. From the very beginning, the parties had joint physical custody. It came out of the prosecutor's office. So they've always had joint legal and joint physical custody. The very first order granted that. And then I believe that ex parte motion filed by Mr. Duval's attorney, Mr. Kazmarek, is when the custody may have changed. We can also refer this case for a custody evaluation to the friend of the court and give another chance to show up, or I can grant mom exclusive possession of the child because originally this case started with joint legal, joint physical.
It appears that in August of 23, August 24th, the court actually, the order was entered. Agreement was placed on the record August 24th, 2023. The order was signed by this court on September 8th, 2023. It provided for joint legal, followed to have primary possession of the child, and the child shall attend school where father resides. So to change it from, it did not address the joint physical. So as far as this court is concerned, the parties have joint legal custody. That will continue. It will simply address the possession. So the plaintiff mother shall have primary possession of the minor child, and the child shall attend school where mother resides, which is Arbwood Monroe Public Schools. All right, so the court will enter that order. Mr. Scanlon, anything further this morning?
Well, is the court, so the court in this instance is not willing to modify legal custody?
Well, I guess if there's a major decision concerning the welfare of the child, mom can always, if there's elective surgery, mom can always reach out to dad. If dad does not participate, then I suppose, Mrs. Patrick, what's your thought on that?
Your Honor, I had not recommended a change in the legal custody. I agree with the court that all mom is required to do under legal custody is to notify dad. If dad does not take any action, she's free to continue on with what she's doing. Of course, that's not going to inhibit her to get emergency care for the child. She would have to ask the court to change to the child's school district or anything like that, or elective surgeries. But I believe all she has to do is notify the other party. If he does not object or does not come back to the court, then she's free to proceed. The joint legal is mostly a notice. She has to notify the other party of anything she's doing with the minor child.
Major decisions. Very well. That's what the court will adopt in that recommendation. Parties will continue to have joint legal custody, but mom will have primary possession of the child. The child will attend school at Arbwood schools where plaintiff mother resides. Again, thank you, Ms. Card, for your time and appearing this morning. It's very helpful to the court and for the benefit of this minor child. All right, with that, Mr. Scanlon, anything further?
Not at all, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Patrick will revise recommendation to include that mother shall have primary possession.
And then the defendant's parenting time is going to be reserved until he petitions the court, Your Honor?
Correct.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Bays, good luck, and your child is growing up quickly, so please remain focused on her welfare.
All right, thank you.
All right, that will conclude. Whenever we can zoom out, have a good rest of the day.
You too, Your Honor.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Card,
Bye-bye.
thank you for coming. You guys have a good Christmas.
You too. Bye-bye.
You.
I had subpoenaed the CPS worker and the friend of court worker.
Excuse me? We've
Yeah, and then
subpoenaed CPS and we adjourned because Mr. Richardson, you had a witness to present who was a friend who was unavailable at that time to work. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you needed to present the front of the court, which the court would like to hear from, which is why we gave that indulgence. But Mr. Richardson, we'll start with you. Do you have your witness here?
Yes, Courtney should be here. I just sent her the info for the Zoom meeting. Is she here?
Well, let's find out.
yeah, she's here.
Then let's bring in his witness.
All right, Courtney, my first question for you is, how do you see me as a father with what you've seen with my son and whatnot?
So I mean, you're pretty family oriented with like, especially to do with like your son. We do a lot of like family dinners together. There's been like a lot of times that like you've taken like your son and my kids to go play outside. You're just like really there for him, giving him what he needs, the attention he needs, the needs that he needs, stuff like that.
All right, my next question for you is, do you consider me to be a caring and compassionate father that cares about his kids?
Yes.
I think it's some more questions here. I had a whole bunch of them loaded up, and now that I'm here, I'm always so nervous. I always get like that.
Take a deep breath. We'll get you through this. That's the whole point. That's why I've been so patient with both of you, is to try, because look, this is your child. I am just trying to make a decision based on what you present to me as evidence. It's never easy and it's never perfect. You will always know your child better than I do. So take a deep breath, ask these questions, and give me the evidence that you can give me, please.
Courtney,
I ask that of both of you.
Courtney, do you feel that I'm capable of being the proper father for my daughter like she needs right now?
Absolutely.
All right. Now you weren't there for much of my bad times, which I struggled through, but you've seen me since I've been post recovery. And how would you describe me since, you know, I've been living next to you and whatnot, and we've been communicating regularly? How would you describe my parenting style, my relationship with my family, just my general way about me?
You've been pretty present, making sure that you're there for not only Timothy's needs and Timothy's appointments, but I've even seen you like take time off of work to be there for like Ellie. So you've just really been present in the children that you're around right now, and I feel like you would also be that present with Valerie as well.
Okay.
So
Continue, finish that answer.
Okay. So in addition to just being the present, you're being present. You're just making sure that you're fulfilling all the needs that they need.
Okay. Something in your answer kind of reminded me, normally people ask, what's the relationship between the parties? So how do you know the parties, ma'am?
So he is in a relationship with my best friend.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you talk about other children, they're your best friend's children?
Yes. Yep. He lives in the home with my best friend and her daughter and their shared son.
And are you a neighbor then too?
Yes, I am. I actually moved her out here with me maybe 6 months ago.
Okay, forgive me, because it does make a difference how the relationship is.
Yep.
So you're not his significant other, you're the best friend of his significant other. And when you talk about the kids, you're talking about her kids, not your kids.
Correct. I mean, he's definitely been a part of like my kids' life as well. We do, like I said in one of my answers, we do like a lot of family dinners together. So we rotate like who cooks on which day. So like they might cook one day, I might cook one day, and we all sit down and have family dinner together.
Okay. So you have a neighbor that you're a good friend with, who's the best friend of your current significant other who lives with you. Thank you, Mr. Richardson. I kind of needed that connection.
Sorry, I thought that would make my apologies.
Well, no apologies necessary. You're not an attorney. I'm trying to treat you like an attorney. And the same with Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. So, but at the same time, I'm trying to make all the connections that are necessary to make this decision. So please proceed, Mr. Richardson, in questioning your witness.
I don't know how to quite word this right, so I'm just gonna kind of say it and see if you express your opinions on it. But so Valerie, as you know, I haven't seen her, is missing out on more than just me. She's missing out on her whole family. My question to you is, you know, as the daughter of a mother of her best friends, your daughter Aria and Ellie, do you feel like the rest of the children really miss her because they haven't seen her? I mean, is there anything you can give examples to showing that, you know, she's not just missing her dad, she's missing her whole family is kind of what I'm getting at. Anything you want to say on that?
So it's just it's kind of a very unfortunate circumstance, and everybody's kind of missing Val. She was a pretty major part of the family. There's been even times that I've went out and done things with Val. And you can definitely see that the people around that were around when she was are hurting from it. My own daughter asks about Val all the time. So it's definitely affecting multiple people not having her around.
Is there anything else you would like to say or add, Courtney? I mean, feel free to. Just any more thoughts on, you know, why you feel like I've gotten to the point now where I should be able to see my daughter again. What have I done to really prove that to you? And, you know, what do you see in me as a capable father that says I'm ready to see her again? And, you know, not just me, but like you said, her sisters, her brother, sister, her brother, and, like, you know, her grandparents stuff. Cause we all miss her, you know, we all want to see her again. What are your thoughts on that?
So the only thing I really have to say is I've definitely seen the strides especially since you've came to Reed City. I wasn't really around for like the bad parts of anything. But even going back to when you guys lived out in Grant and I was around those times, you were out doing a lot of work and you weren't really present and you weren't really around for a lot of things. And now coming to Reed City and being sober and all of that, you're here every day. You make sure you're here for dinner. You make sure that you're going to conferences, you're going to doctor's appointments. You're participating in the family dinners by making dinners, taking the kids out to the park. Like, you've really stepped up as a parent. And I definitely think that Val also needs to experience that.
Thank you very much. I guess that's really all I have. Because my whole point with this witness was to just kind of say, you know, hey, I'm doing good. And we miss her, and then it's not just me that miss her; it's the whole family miss her. And I feel like I've got my point across with that. And, you know, like I said, I'm putting work first. I mean, not putting family first, not work first, like I used to.
Yep.
All righty. Miss Gonzalez-Dean, if you could cross-examine this witness.
You said he takes time off for Ellie's appointments, but at what point did he get a job that was full-time where he had to take time off now?
He's currently working for a roofing company.
Right. Is that the roofing company that the boss was kicked out of his home previously?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. And then I don't know how to state this question. I guess this isn't really a question for you, more so.
She's the witness on the stand, so you have to question the witness that's there.
Yes. When would you say that Timmy moved in permanently across the hall from you?
I would say, what are we in? We're in October, so it was probably close to the end of, I gotta math back my months. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. I would say probably about the end of July, beginning of August.
Okay. So in the time that he was abusive to your best friend, did she ever come to you and say that, hey, we need change? What do you think we should do? Were there ever options of counseling that she ever spoke of? Or is it just, hey, he's changed now?
I wasn't really present for that. She wasn't really keeping me in the loop about it. So I can't really speak on that a whole lot.
And
So-
well, hold on. When was that, ma'am? Let me give a timeline here.
For the abuse,
Yes.
I'm not quite sure. I know that
In the past year, the past few months.
I would say maybe like the past like year. Like I said, I don't know much about it, so I can't really speak on it.
Okay.
So how are you able to speak to it now?
I can speak on how much he's changed from back when he lived in Grant to now. Not on the abuse or anything like that, but I can speak on how he's present in the children's lives now.
And what timeline is that? I'm sorry, some people forget the timelines. I have people that testify to stuff like this and it's 5 years old.
So
And sometimes it was last month. So
yeah, for sure. I get that. So there was a pretty big gap in communication between me and my best friend when she moved out to Muskegon.
And when was that? Again, timeline.
That was I'm trying. I'm
asking for approximates, like months, seasons, or and year.
So she moved from Muskegon about 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, she was back out in Muskegon. Before that, she was living in Grant, and that was maybe a year ago.
Okay.
So this is, there was like a year gap between me being around them.
Okay. So you only have, your testimony is for the past 6 months.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. Now that I have a timeline, please continue.
I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize. Look, let's hope this is the first and only time you ever have to testify in court.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a stressful situation. You have two parties who are trying to elicit testimony.
Yep.
And, they don't, because they're not represented by attorneys, they don't realize what's pertinent to the court. I'm trying to decipher timelines, activities, incidents, and that's why I needed the timeline. So within the past 6 months.
Okay.
Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you're on cross-examination of this witness. Please continue.
So within the past 6 months, you guys have reconnected.
Yep.
But if were you her best friend, would you say earlier this year or just within the past 6 months?
I've been best friends with her for about 10 years.
Okay. So as her best friend, you not knowing these things within the past year that happened just in January, how do you think, what gives you sorry, I'm trying to word this in a good way. How do you know what happens behind closed doors is not the same as 6 months ago? What if it's just, being best friends again and it's nice to see you? I mean, she didn't tell you earlier this year. Why would she tell you now?
Because I am with them every single day. From the moment that Timmy gets home from work, I get home from work. We are pretty much with each other from dinner time because we share dinners every single night until we all decide to go to bed.
And then I think that's about it for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So you're not his current girlfriend, correct?
No, I am his girlfriend's best friend.
Oh, okay. Don't mind me. I mean, relationships are just
I know, and
different.
it's kind of a weird circumstance too. It's just kind of we talk about the family dinners. It's a way to save money.
Well, and that's why I asked, because you said you eat together every night.
Yep.
So I'm trying to establish the relationship here.
Yep.
And I've dealt with some different relationships. There are many people that have polyamorous ones. There are people that have no offense, not polyamorous, but there are people that have very, very close relationships where they're a family despite what everything else is, and it has nothing to do with relationships. It has everything to do with, hi, we're all together, we're trying to make this work.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're trying to get through life. And that sounds like where you're at. Is
Yep.
that correct? So you
Yeah.
guys eat every night.
Mm-hmm.
Who prepares the meals?
We alternate meals. So one night me and my boyfriend will prepare meals. The
Okay.
next night her and Timmy will prepare meals. And whoever prepares the meal will eat at each other's houses.
And how many children do you have?
I have 3.
All right. And Timmy has how many?
He has Timothy and Valerie. And then his girlfriend also has a daughter named Ellie, who he is present in her life as well.
So whose home do you meet with the most?
It goes in between both. It's just whoever ends up making dinner that night. Yep.
Forgive me, I'm just trying to set up the scenario here.
Yep.
And so who cooks the most?
We alternate every single night.
Does Tim do any of the cooking?
He does every once in a while. He has started.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Oh, he just started. God help you.
I'm a notoriously bad cook. My daughter used to make fun of me for burning mac and cheese, so I'm a notoriously bad cook.
Water.
I'm learning. I'm trying for the kids.
Hey, that's all that counts is that you're learning. To
It's
me,
a
I was
lot of effort.
my background's biochemistry, so the kitchen is nothing more than a lab to me. So that's my kitchen.
Yep.
When my wife and I first got married 33 years ago, I'm the one that chose everything that went into the kitchen because she had no clue.
Yep.
So yeah, food is what connects us.
It does.
And the fact that you've got somebody, Tim, that you're meeting with even nightly. I was just wondering how much you did of the cooking and what you did of the meal prep and who does all this.
If I don't cook, I do the cleanup kind of thing. So I'm always been a good
Well,
cleanup
that's the typical. I still do the cleanup whether I cook or not. God help me when my daughter prepares meals because then every dish in the house is used. She's 24, God help us. But teach your kids well. And that's one of the skills to teach. You have to eat. You have to take care of the home. I asked the question because I'm trying to establish the relationship. So forgive me for the intrusion.
No, completely fine.
Understood. All right. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you were done with this witness? At this point?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Richardson, are you done with this witness? You may ask more questions and then Ms. Gonzalez-Dean gets the cross-examination, gets the cross-exam again.
I think I'm pretty much good. I don't want to drag on too long because eventually here pretty quick my crew's going to get done working and I'm going to have to get in the truck and I don't want to set you with that. So
Understood. Well, work is work. And that's one of the reasons we do it this way. We interfere with work less. Ms. Kirkendall, thank you for your testimony. And may you guys continue to share those meals.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
they are important and they are wonderful.
Yeah.
And hey, explore. You never know. I'm
I
having to learn.
Question.
Oh, certainly, Mr. Richardson.
Just to kind of show the whole family being dedicated and happy to everything that Val come. You've been noticing we've got everything for Val's room ready to go. Everything's set up. I mean, we just describe the amount of effort that me and Jordan and you all come and Stuart together have been kind of closely putting in to drive all the way back to Grant to get Valerie stuff and just like I had it worded really good until I just started saying it, so I kind of lost it. I guess
let me ask a question that may sum this all up. All right, Ms. Kirkland, you've known Mr. Richardson has some problems in the past with issues, and I won't go into them totally, but do you feel safe with him around your children?
Absolutely. There's been multiple times that he has watched my children under just the supervision of himself, and I feel comfortable with that.
Okay. And you would feel that he would be safe and comfortable with any child?
Yes.
Do you think that he would be a good parent to a child?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, have I missed something?
No, nothing at all. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, they're just questions. I'm trying to make sure, remember, parenting time is ordered by the court, and it must be ordered by the court in some way, shape, or fashion in the best interest of a child.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sure that we have a witness here who has witnessed him with children, that she feels that he would be comfortable around children, including your child. Forgive me, but that's a pertinent form of information. Now you may cross-examine on that, and that's what I was going to open this up for.
No, I was questioning because he said they're very excited about the outcome. They already have a room ready for her.
I get that. I get that. And that may or may not be the outcome. That's why I'm questioning whether a person who's seen him with children and trusts him with children is feeling okay with him with children. That's why I'm going to open up this for cross-examination by you, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. I mean, there are many issues in this case.
No,
and I have
good.
to deal with them.
Guaranteed to see her again. I just wanted to say that we're getting
Well,
we're hopeful.
my thing is the law presumes that parenting time will happen, but it must happen in a safe environment and with a person that the law deems safe to be there. There's a presumption of safety, but there's some evidence here that there's concerns. And I want to make sure that the court gets to address those concerns. And that's why, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you may cross-examine this witness. It was a pertinent question because that's what's pertinent here. I need to know if it's safe.
My question was, were my two witnesses here today as well? They were.
I don't know. We're going with his witness, so we haven't gotten to yours yet.
Okay, just wanted to.
I mean, because you went first. So we went with his witnesses, and his witness wasn't present last time, and neither was yours. So we're going to get to that momentarily.
Okay.
But right now we have this witness on the stand to cross-examine by you. So you may cross-examine this witness, ma'am.
So when you guys say that you're there all the time, are there ever times that you all go out as adults, and what do you guys like to do?
We really don't get a chance to go out as adults. I'm technically a single mom of 3. I mean, I have my boyfriend, but I really don't get a chance away from my kids besides them going to daycare. So we really have not done anything as adults. Every time we do go out with kids.
What would you say the dynamic is between Timmy and Timothy with schooling? Are they working on that with him, do you think?
Absolutely. He does go to daycare. So he is getting a lot of the schooling that he needs from daycare. But there's been multiple times where he's came home. Timmy has came home from work, and he'll sit there with Timothy, and they'll read books together. They'll sing the alphabet together, stuff like that. So I mean, that's pretty much what you primarily focus on for preschool. So I would say that that's helping towards his schooling. Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with someone that was abusive to their significant other?
Absolutely. I dealt with it myself.
Okay. Would that be with your current partner?
No, that was with my children's father.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yep.
Not to pry too much, just
No,
curious.
you're fine. You're fine.
Sometimes watching those behaviors in certain people, you can see those in other people.
Yep.
And just curious. I mean, you see him now, but when he gets upset, what is his go-to? Does he have to step away? Does he scream? Is there holes in the wall anymore kind of thing?
I mean, I've definitely seen him get a little frustrated sometimes. And I've noticed that his biggest go-to is he'll just step outside and smoke a cigarette.
Okay. And all he's doing out there is a cigarette?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Does he ever drink by chance?
I've never seen alcohol in the home.
Okay. And the smoking is definitely outside of the home at this time.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no smoking in the bathroom with a vent on kind of thing that you know of.
No, we get regular inspections. We would get evicted if somebody was smoking in the home.
Gotcha. Okay. That was my next question. Who was doing the inspections? But I get you. It sounds like
we live in low income housing, so it's by the state board.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then in the past, Timmy had a big problem with waking up. I'm not sure if it was his past habits, or if it was, third shift, or just lack of, time scheduling. Do you see him getting up early in the morning / is Jordan still doing the waking up of him, or do you see him more independent and them as co-partners versus her putting everything and having to do everything?
I mean, I don't see the actual like morning routine because I'm not there. But I do know they're out the door every morning by at least 5 a.m. to get him all the way out to work, so that she can get back to get Ellie to school.
No offense, Miss Gonzalez-Dean, but I don't expect her to be in the house on the morning routine. But
No,
you
not
can
every day,
you can ask her about, is the kid on time for the school routine?
not every day, but she had mentioned that they're together all the time. I mean,
Correct. Yes,
weekend,
I
there's
agree. I was trying to keep this a little light.
Yeah.
sorry.
No problem. No, don't apologize.
It's just been
Like
a
I
long
said, I have a lot of people that butt heads and call each other names a lot. And if I can keep it somewhat light and realize that, yeah, she did testify, she's around a lot. So I would expect her to understand maybe that she sees the kid in the morning routine, in the fact that he's at school on time or at the bus stop. So I'll let you continue, please.
I was asking about the behavior of the dad, which is what we're here for.
Correct.
That's all I had to say.
All right. Any other questions, ma'am?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off or stop you. I was just trying to add some levity to a really bad situation. I don't expect her to be there while they're cooking breakfast.
I mean, they said they shared meals. So
yeah, I know. Well, I guess that should happen. Miss Kirkendall, have you ever been there for a breakfast presentation?
No, I usually work a lot of early mornings.
Okay.
So dinner's our best bet.
Okay, well, maybe ask for breakfast next time, maybe some crepes. Yeah, maybe some crepes, a couple of pancakes, but to your knowledge, when the child is with his father or with the father, they make it to school, they make it to the bus stop on time.
Yep.
Do your kids have the
Absolutely.
same bus stop?
So we actually live too close to the school.
Okay.
So we don't have a bus stop. We have to take our children to school.
So do you take them together?
No, we drive separately. Usually she will go straight from dropping Timmy off at work to dropping Ellie off at school.
Okay, but to the best of your knowledge, you've experienced the fact that the child gets to school on time.
Yep, every day I pass right by her car dropping my own daughter off.
Okay. Sorry, Miss Gonzalez-Dean. I just wanted to get more specific about that, and forgive me for the sideline. Like I said, I watch a lot of people call each other names and demean each other. You guys really haven't done that all that much. And I know, no, it's not worth it. And I thank you for both being very upfront, but I was trying to keep it within the spirit of this and the fact that, yeah, you're right. She's been with dinners. Maybe she's seen breakfasts. And I thought all right. Sorry, I had motions this morning. They were really nasty and bad. And I'm trying to all of you, keeping a decent relationship. Mr. Richardson, any more questions about this witness?
Following up on one question that Sheena asked and kind of expanded upon, she was wondering about how, you can tell abuse and whatnot. And you mentioned that you were in an abusive relationship. Would you like to expand upon your relationship with Cameron and how your relationship, Cameron being the father of her children, and why you are a perfect person to kind of, not that I need a watchdog by any means, I'm not saying that, but to be a person that would be able to spot signs immediately because of what happened with Cameron. Can you go into detail about how you experienced what you experienced with her means that I couldn't get anything past you? Not that I, I'm trying to or nothing like that, but like, could you elaborate on that a little bit for me? I'm having trouble.
Yeah, so I mean, I was in a relationship with my children's father for close to 10 years. He was extremely abusive. He laid his hands on me, he laid his hands on the kids. And it got to a point where we ended up having to flee the house. But with that being said, it does make it very easy for me to spot abuse that's being done, whether it's just flying off the handle because you're angry, or clenching fists when you're angry. There's just like a bunch of signs that I've picked up myself being in an abusive relationship for so long that it's pretty hard for me not to catch on to those.
And do you see any of those signs in me?
I do not.
And I don't know if you remember this incident, but it's kind of prove how much of a watchdog you are on me. But do you remember the glue stick incident in the kitchen?
The what?
When you found the glue stick in the kitchen?
Glue stick?
You thought it was something else?
Oh yeah. Yep, I do remember.
Would you care to describe that story and just kind of prove how, you know, on top of it you are? Like, again, not that I need the watch fire or nothing like that, but it's just another layer of security I have, you know, just to know that Val's safe no matter what kind of thing. Like,
yeah, so I had walked into so in addition to my children's father being abusive, he also was a meth addict. And I had walked into the kitchen one day to help with dinner, and I had seen something on top of the pantry, and it looked like a meth pipe. And so immediately I picked it up and I was like, Timmy, what is this? And he kind of walked into the kitchen and just kind of giggled at me, and he was like, it's a glue stick. And I kind of like looked at it in depth more, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. But it's definitely something I caught real quick, and I was immediately like, hey, what the heck is this?
Thank you.
And that was at Mr. Richardson's house.
Yes, that was actually within like the last 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Mr. Richardson?
No, not really. Not for her directly. I have some stuff I want to say at the end, but that's about it.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, Miss Gonzalez-Dean, is there any cross-examination on that testimony?
No.
Okay. In that case, Ms. Kirkendall, you are released. Welcome and thank you for being.
Thank you.
And forgive my bad sense of humor. I just try to keep things light because, forgive me, I watch a lot of people butt heads and just.
You kind of have to in your field of work.
Yeah, I do 30 to 70 hearings a week. It sometimes gets really bad. And I had a bad morning, so I was trying to keep it lighter, and maybe
right.
My sense of humor is just obviously not that good for being a geek.
I get that.
But in any event, okay, Mr. Richardson, that was the last of your witnesses, sir?
Yep.
Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, your next witness. I know we reserved on yours.
I had subpoenaed the CPS worker and the friend of court worker.
All right, Ms. LeVay, are they present?
I don't have anyone present.
But you did subpoena them, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean? Did you get any responses from them?
Ms. LeVay had sent me an email verifying that the receipt of subpoena was sent.
All right, Ms. LeVay.
It was sent. I see it in court view, but no one's here.
Excuse me? We've subpoenaed CPS and okay, forgive me, I'm sorry. But a subpoena normally has the force of court. So, but you don't have them here, but the subpoenas were verified. Did either of these people get back to you? Ms. LeVay. No, forgive me. I'm asking Ms. LeVay because sometimes they notify the court. You know, we give credibility for them being on vacation. You know, sometimes they don't control when they get called in for a hearing. But absent a vacation or some excuse, Ms. LeVay, did anybody contact you?
No one reached out to me. I haven't heard from anyone. I did try to email Ms. Hayes, and it appears she's out of the office.
Excuse me, but I think that the court needs to hear from both CPS and that's one of the reasons we adjourned this.
I don't know about CPS,
but as far as the court is concerned, the subpoenas were validly given.
I don't know about given. I just see them docketed in the court system.
And that's validly?
Yeah.
I wanted to get you two through this. Because they were validly subpoenaed, I don't want to issue a bench warrant for their presence. But what the court is going to do now is to ensure that they can both be here. Forgive me, Mr. Richardson, forgive me, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, but that's unusual. Normally, if a subpoena is issued, the parties show, especially if they're state workers.
Yeah, I can't imagine why a state worker wouldn't show. I mean, I just been a Courtney for a job, so I completely understand how
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm confused myself. I've been doing this for 18 years.
I can see it on your face, man.
Yeah, and well, if somebody subpoenas a worker, they generally contact us and say, "Hey, I'm on vacation that week," or "I'm sorry, I already have an appointment. Can we reschedule?" And we reschedule for their ability. So at this point in time, I'm going to valid because I can't. The court can ask, but how we ask is we have you subpoena them. Okay, because the court can call a witness, but we call it through you. You've done that, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. So the court is going to issue statements or issue requests to both parties to honor your subpoenas. Otherwise, I may have no choice but to issue a bench warrant, which means they will be here. I don't like to do that to state workers. They have too many things to do, and sometimes screw-ups happen. But we need them, and Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you appropriately called them. So the court should not issue an opinion until we hear from them. Mr. Richardson, you presented your witnesses. Is there anyone else you'd like to present?
There's really no one else on present other
All
than
right, you just have a closing statement to some.
Yeah, just to clarify some issues that I've seen recurring that Shane has been asking, one of them being about counseling, if I may real quick.
Certainly.
So with regard to counseling, I am officially in a counseling program. I've got paperwork to show the starting and everything.
Well, just make sure that Shayna knows that who the counselor is, and if she needs to contact them, the counselor may.
They're at the. Sorry to interrupt again.
Oh no, that's okay.
I have ADD, so my mind goes like that. It's actually the counseling office in the building in White Cloud that she works at.
All right.
Family health care. She still works there.
Okay. So Shayna, if you care to, Tim, if you please would tell her who the counselor is. Shayna, you can reach out to the counselor. The counselor may tell you I don't need any input.
I don't have the paper on the top of my head, and I'm bad with names, but I can see if it's in my backpack. No, it's in my old backpack.
No problem. Get it to her. Get it to
technical.
her off the record. It's okay.
I will email it to her.
All right. Yes, Shayna.
We have our family wizard, but he has not been present on it since March.
Okay, we'll get back on it, Timothy.
Anything for it.
I didn't have the money. I will be doing that
All
now.
right.
I'm filing the reports to do it for the.
All right, hold on. Tim, what's your current income?
My current income is about $400 or $500 a week.
Okay. Shayna, what's yours?
It's about the same.
All right. I will issue an order next week that indicates that neither one of you have to pay. I can obviate the cost of my family wizard for 1 year.
What if I've already paid it?
Do you get another year? Would that help?
Yes, that would help a lot, sir.
All right. All I'm trying to do is help you get through this.
Yeah, I just haven't had the
I'm
money
trying
for
to
it.
make sure that everything is okay for the kids. All right.
Yeah, I've been the reason I don't have it is, like I said, I kind of restarted life.
All right.
And
I will issue an order that says my family wizard's costs are obviated for 1 year.
And
for
will there
both
be like
parties.
an email sent to me for me to figure out how to follow through with that? Or
I'm going to send you an order. I believe you have to file the order with my family wizard.
okay, I just wanted to make sure I knew what I had to do on my
Understood.
end.
I'm just trying to help you guys through this.
I
Let's get
really
this so that
appreciate that a
both of
lot.
you are involved with your children.
I just want to
right?
see my daughter again and have her see her family. Her whole family
Yeah.
misses her.
Your
messed up,
daughter
and I'm
needs
trying my
needs
best.
both of you. You did screw up.
I'm not gonna lie. I know I did.
I know you haven't
lied.
lied, but we've got to move through this. The question is how, and how to do safely and for the best interest of your daughter. Okay.
It's got to be slow at the start or nothing for a while. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I
just
know.
wanted to at some point.
So I will issue a order on Monday indicating that my family wizard fees are waived for 1 year. They may give you a refund, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I know they've told me I have that ability. They ask that I do not use it that often.
Well, keep it coming. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, I get it.
Mark this on your calendar, and next year just do it again.
Yeah, well, I understand. I'd love to tell you don't have to pay taxes either, but I don't have that authority.
Darn.
I'd love to tell me I don't have to pay taxes.
One of
But
the few things you're guaranteed in life.
Yep, that and death. But the Supreme Court has issued an opinion that says, pay as little taxes legally as you possibly can. A lot of us use different words than that. You can
Read between the lines.
you can the IRS as much as possible as long as it's legal. Uh, so, but if I can help you with that and avoid costs, you can spend more money on your child. That's what's important. But Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, we will try and get the FOC. We will try and make those subpoenas happen. I'd love to give you another date, but I want to make sure that they're available because I want to hear
Right.
from them. Because I want to make sure that this decision is done appropriately.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
So we'll get to that and we'll have another hearing. Unfortunately, I was hoping to end this today and then make an opinion in the next week or so because I'd love to get these things done. But in any event,
I understand.
take care, ladies and gentlemen, and stay safe. And we will try and get this moved along as soon as possible. All right, Ms. McBride, if you care to unmute. Good morning, ma'am. Welcome. All right, Sheena McBride, please raise your right hand. You've been called as a witness in this case. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in giving testimony? Yes. All right, welcome. All right, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you may question your witness.
Good morning, Sheena. At the time of the investigation, when you questioned Miss Mansfield about drug usage, she had admitted what exactly to you about that in the household?
I do not recall what occurred with Miss Mansfield. I'm no longer with CPS, so I don't have a lot of knowledge and I don't have access to any files.
Okay. You don't remember the multiple times I've reached out throughout the year at all?
I believe speaking with you and maybe my supervisor, in regards to some concerns, in regards to your daughter, I believe it was. I'm not sure in recollection about the substance use. I think there were DV concerns.
Correct.
Okay.
Could you go further in that at all?
I just, all I can recall is maybe there was some deep concerns with him and a previous girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, Miss Mansfield.
Correct. Well, she was previously and now currently again. So, okay. Unfortunately, I think that's all I have to ask at this time. Thank you for
Really?
showing.
Oh, okay. In that case, then I have a question. If you can recall, Ms. McBride, do you remember if the case was opened or substantiated, or was it brought to court?
It was not brought to court, I don't believe. I think it was a Category 3 open close.
Oh, so just an open close. So that would
Open
mean that
close,
you
yeah.
didn't really substantiate anything
No,
of any harm to the child.
no.
Okay. Do you remember approximately when this investigation was done?
Maybe early this year, January, February.
Okay, so it was within 2024.
Yes.
Do you remember if there were any other CPS cases involving parties?
In regards to me, this was the one case that I've had.
Okay. So you don't remember, you don't know, because if you investigated, you would have noted probably in your report at least that
it could be in the report. I don't have access to anything.
yeah, I
I'm
understand,
sorry.
but I mean it would if it was in the report. I was just asking if you remembered or recalled. So
I don't. I'm sorry.
that's okay. No, I'm just okay. Mr. Richardson, do you have any questions for this witness?
Oh, hold on, I'm mute. No, sorry, that was muted. No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, do you have any copy of that report?
I do not on hand. I believe that was emailed to the friend of court. It should have been sent to both friend of court and as well as the courts. After that.
I don't believe the court has received. I did not see any copy of a. Let me double check. But I don't believe I received the front of the court stuff, but I did not receive any Child Protective Services exhibits.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Richardson, I would like her to present that to the court. Do you have a copy of it too, Mr. Richardson? Did you ever receive it?
Probably, but it's buried in my email.
Okay,
and
but you've had it and you've read it.
I want to say yes, but I don't really remember it. So, but I want to say yes. So.
The
court is
document stating
the-
that there was some type of substantiated evidence.
well,
but
and that what I want is a copy of the report, because if I trust me, this is a third of what I do in my life. I do a third juvenile delinquency, a third abuse neglect, and a third domestic. And before I make any decisions, I would like to be able to read that report. And since we have Ms. McBride here, and that's why I'm holding you here, Ms. McBride, because you did write a report. You do remember doing that. You just can't remember
Yes.
some of the substance of it.
Yes, and in regards to, they would have to request it to get a copy of it. So I
Right.
can't remember if they requested or not.
Well, hopefully they requested it and hopefully they have a copy. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a week to get that to the court, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean. And if you can, email Mr. Richardson a new copy of it. Okay. I feel that I would be remiss as a court, and I'm ordering it because it's a misdemeanor to distribute it. But with the court order saying the court needs to see it and you are the only two parties involved in it, distribution with the three of us is not a problem. Ms. McBride, I believe that you are released then. Thank you for your time. Sorry to interrupt your life for something, but like I said, I want to get these parties as much opportunity to present as much evidence as possible. They both realize that I've got to deal with parenting time somehow. And I think I really do need to read that report to ensure of what's going on. All righty. Thank you for your time and patience. All right, you are released. All right, I take it the next witness, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, is going to be the front of the court.
Yes.
And if I remember, that is Liz Hayes, and she has testified in my courtroom many times. So that name I remember. Tim, are you cold?
Yeah, I'm in the car waiting for work to start the bus, waiting for this to get done so I can start.
Yeah.
So it's just
I always
cold.
love the dichotomy of this. I was rewatching a couple of the last bits of the hearings to figure out where we're at, since I do 30 to 70 hearings a week. Remembering these is not something that's easy. And Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you always look so comfortable and relaxed, and he always looks scrunched up.
Not on the inside.
Hey,
It's also how I say I'm 6'2" and I wear boots, so I'm 6'4" in boots, and so I'm sitting in a small car, so I'm really cramped. And when I'm on the bed, I try to prop my legs up so I don't have to hold the phone with my hands.
Okay, no problem.
So-
I just, like I said, the dichotomy is just so weird because, no offense, that is what it appears to be. So, but in any event, we are still on the record in the matter of Gonzalez-Dean versus Richardson. Ms. Hayes, you have been called as a witness in this case. If you wouldn't mind, please raising your right hand, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in giving testimony?
Yes, I do.
All righty, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you may question this witness.
Good morning, Ms. Hayes.
Good morning.
So we do have your evaluation into the courts, and I know it's quite extensive, but could you perhaps highlight the portions about domestic violence, the drug usage, as well as my concerns perhaps not being taken very seriously?
Yes. So I met with the parties 2 different times, once on August 30 of 2023, and then again on April 10 of 2024. The concerns that Ms. Gonzalez-Dean just mentioned are outlined primarily in the second report and recommendation that I authored. And those concerns were related to police contact that had occurred in Mr. Richardson's home following allegations of domestic violence between Mr. Richardson and his then partner, Miss Mansfield. I recall when I spoke with Miss Mansfield, she disclosed that she had initially witnessed, or I think her exact words were, caught Mr. Richardson smoking back in 2021.
Correct. And at that time, did she mention it was within the home?
Yes, she did say that that was occurring in the home.
Okay. And then there was also a mention from her that even this year when he had her previously, his responsibilities as a parent, were they quite high, minimal?
Ms. Mansfield described being the primary caregiver for all of the children in their combined household. She stated that even when Mr. Richardson was home and outside of the working hours, she stated she was primarily providing all of the care and attending to the needs of all 3 of the children in the home.
And then in the interview from, I believe, August or October of last year, he had stated to you he was clean for how long? Do you recollect that at all?
How long did Mr. Richardson state he had been sober? I believe he'd indicated he had been sober from a prior opiate addiction for approximately 6 years at that point.
Okay. And then within the meetings that we've had, would you say that his verbiage is of a past user or of a current person kind of struggling with these addictions?
The way that he spoke about his use indicated prior, that it was a prior issue. It was all prior use. He did not initially indicate any current substance use. When confronted about the police reports and the concerns that you had outlined in your paperwork, Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, I asked him specifically about the police reports related to being discovered with meth on his person and in the car. And he did respond that that was, I believe he referred to it as a relapse. He said that meth was something new that he was trying at that time. And that he indicated that he, again, was sober from all substances at the time of the report.
Okay, thank you. There was one other thing. In your report, you had recommended that he has counseling and rehabilitation. Would you say that someone with the concerns that I have for him, do you think someone in his position can change just by, taking a break from a relationship and then kind of delving right back into it a month and a half later?
I don't really know how to answer that question. I'm not really in a position to kind of speculate on one's ability to change. I think my recommendation for him to engage in treatment was really to focus and address his substance abuse issues and hopefully build in some skills and supports to avoid ongoing drug use.
Okay. I think that's about it. Pretty much covered all the bases. That's what I was looking for, getting information about within the household. The methamphetamine use and just the recurrent and constant problem of, is it going to happen again, kind of thing. Thank you.
Sure.
Referee, you have to unmute.
What's that?
I asked, well, I chatted with my clerk because I had talked about something earlier, and next thing I know, it notified me that my clerk had muted me, and I sent her a chat saying, "Why did you mute me?" And she never unmuted me. I'm like, her and my wife would love to do that kind of stuff. In any
like
event,
the movie Click. Like the movie Click.
Yeah, that would do it. Anyway, in any event, hopefully you heard me earlier when I made some statements, but if not, we'll move on. So the report of 5/28, 2024 will be entered as an exhibit into this case at this time. So, but now, Mr. Richardson, you may cross-examine this witness.
I don't really have any questions other than more or less a statement that I really wanted to hear, that I have begun therapy and that I have taken a lot of steps to get all those kind of people out of my life. Like I talked to my therapist this month about how I had a lot of bad people.
Well, hold on. I'm going to give you a chance for a closing statement momentarily.
Oh, sorry.
So you have no questions for Ms. Hayes then?
Nope.
Okay, and Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, you are done with this witness?
I believe so. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Hayes, you are excused. Thank you. Ms. Gonzalez-Dean, any other witnesses?
I believe that's as much as I feel needs to be presented.
All righty, then we will go with closing statements. Mr. Richardson, you may go with your statement, sir.
I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and I messed up this last year, and I lost time with my daughter because of it. And that really made me reflect and change. And I've made a big effort towards changing and being more involved in the kids' life when I'm outside of work. I spent quite a few months not working, rehabilitating myself at my dad's house, getting myself set to the right path. I got a lot of people out of my life, and I talked to my therapist recently about how about how I attract a lot of negative people and how I'm keeping them out now and things to do to avoid that, and about the drug counseling and everything else. I've really, really grown a lot, and I just want to see my daughter again. I know I've made mistakes, but that's not me anymore. And I hope that's proven, and I'm really, really working hard towards it.
Understood. Like I said, I'm going to review the entire file and the exhibits and all the testimony from 3 days of testimony. And then I will issue an opinion. I'll bring you both in for that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'd like to remind you both that you've not given me all that much. Although we've had 3 days, I don't even think we've had a total of 2 hours worth of testimony. So I will do my best. Just remember, I can only base an opinion based on what I hear. And again, 3 days of testimony with only about 2 hours worth of total testimony because witnesses didn't show or questions were done quickly. I mean, we only adjourned this because it was really a necessity to hear from the front of the court and Child Protective Services, but even their testimony was quick. So I will do my best. And Ms. LeVay, do we have a date for an oral opinion, please?
Were you thinking 2 weeks out or more?
2.5 probably. I don't want to do it during a motion week because I've spent too much time. And
Okay.
next week's might be too soon. I'm gonna try and get to it next week, but I can't guarantee it. Might have to be the week of Thanksgiving. 11:25 at 11 a.m. Again by Zoom. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I promise you I will do my best, but I can also promise you it's never great. It's always
11:25 at
something
what time again?
at 11 a.m.
All right, thank you.
All righty. Good luck,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
When he gets upset, what is his go-to? Does he have to step away? Does he scream? Is there holes in the wall anymore kind of thing?
I mean, I've definitely seen him get a little frustrated sometimes. And I've noticed that his biggest go-to is he'll just step outside and smoke a cigarette.
Okay. And all he's doing out there is a cigarette?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Does he ever drink by chance?
I've never seen alcohol in the home.
Okay. And the smoking is definitely outside of the home at this time.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no smoking in the bathroom with a vent on kind of thing that you know of. You
No,
guys don't.
we get regular inspections. We would get evicted if somebody was smoking in the home.
What if my oldest daughter continues to go to college or so?
It's by the statute, the Texas Family Code only goes up to the 18.
No, he doesn't get to decide. How is it that you ended up with the children?
What are the names of the children in this case? And how old are the children?
Maria, she's 16, Esmeralda 13, and David it's 11. He's 11.
And who do the children live with?
With me.
And who makes the day-to-day decisions?
Me.
Does Miss Rodriguez make any decisions for the children?
Not since they've been living with me.
Okay, and when did they start living with you?
September of 2022.
Okay, and Mr. Salcedo, what are you requesting the conservatorship be?
I don't understand the question.
The conservatorship is who's going to make all the decisions as far as where the children reside, where they go to school. And there's joint managing conservatorship and there's sole managing conservatorship.
No, he doesn't get to decide. It's based on the evidence. So,
right.
Mr. Salcedo, you've had the children since September of 2022, correct?
Yes.
All right. What are their ages?
16, 13, and 11.
All right. Are they currently visiting their mother at any time?
No.
Okay. How is it that you ended up with the children?
Child Protective left the custody to me.
All right. And did you go before a CPS judge or you were just talking to CPS through their offices?
The offices. I was they had a representative, Nora.
Okay. All right. And where is Miss Rodriguez right now at this time? Do you know where she is?
She's residing with her parents.
Got it. All right. And so did the CPS workers give you any restrictions regarding whether Miss Rodriguez could visit the children?
No, not to my house, but the children cannot go to her house.
Got it. All right. And did they ever issue an opinion as to whether or not why did they remove the children from her? Do you know?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, because she lost her house, the housing house given by the state, and because she's living with that person who sexually assaulted my oldest daughter.
All right. And do you know if she's still living with that person?
Yes.
All right. Now, when was the last time she saw the children?
It might have been like 3 weeks ago.
Okay. And when she sees them, does she see them at your house?
No, we actually, she also, Dollar General, we were going to the store and we, occasionally, like, it was
You
a
ran
random,
into her. You ran into her.
yeah, we ran into her.
Okay. And so what kind of visitation are you allowing for your three children to see their mom?
As for me, because they're old enough, I don't have no
Right.
restrictions.
All right, but you said CPS said that the CPS case is still ongoing?
No, it was closed whenever they were left into my custody.
Okay. All right, then what we're
So,
gonna do is I'll grant some sort of visitation as long as it's in a public place, okay, Mr. Salcedo?
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Feist.
I was gonna say, Your Honor, that I was gonna go into the, Mr. Salcedo, you were in agreement to the joint managing conservatorship, right?
Well, no,
Well,
you know,
that's,
the court, yeah, I know.
okay, Your
But
Honor.
because CPS was involved, they closed the case. I don't have anything other than maybe CPS at one time said she could not see the children at her house, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any problems with sole managing conservator because of the history of the case. And we could do
Okay.
visitation at a public place and he can decide. If you can just tell
Okay.
us right now, Mr. Salcedo, they're old enough, like you said. The only
Yes.
thing I would do is keep all three children together. So is there a public place? Well, let me ask you this. Has she reached out to you telling you she wants to see the kids? Does she even try to see the kids?
I think so, ma'am. Cause not to me, but she's talked to my oldest daughter, which she like the two oldest one refused, but the little one does try to see her. But yeah, she reached to them, not to me.
All right. Well, we're gonna put in the order that she can have visitation the first, third, and fifth Saturday from 12 to 6. That's every other Saturday. Just give me the name of a public place that you would be comfortable with.
Probably Maverick County Lake.
Okay. And what you're gonna do is I'm gonna put a clause in there that all three children should stay together, okay?
Yes.
So that your oldest daughter can help with the younger one, okay? All right, we'll just do it that way, Mr. Feist. If I don't have any information from CPS other than his testimony, and so we'll just leave it sole managing conservator, but we'll grant visitation.
Okay. Mr. Salcedo, do you have any information as to Ms. Rodriguez's income?
No, like I said, the other worker, no, I don't.
Okay. Then we're gonna, the state's gonna request that the minimum wage presumption take effect. Are you in agreement to that? Minimum wage would, yes.
Yes.
Child support will be set at $317 a month effective February 1st of 2024. Are you in agreement to that?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. There'll also be a step down of 264 and then another step down of 211. Were you in agreement to that? The step down means when one of them emancipates, graduates, turns 18, it'll go your child support will go down, or her child support would go down.
Just a quick question about that. What if my oldest daughter continues to go to college or so?
It's by the statute is the Texas Family Code only goes up to the 18.
Okay, sure, no problem.
Okay. And how are the children covered for health insurance?
They're in a state Medicaid.
Okay. So the medical support reimbursed to the state will be $100 effective February 1st of 2024. Are you in agreement to that?
Yes.
And you are requesting non-disclosure. Is that correct?
What is
non-disclosure means your information will not be on the order, like your address. Does she already know where you live?
Yeah, she knows where I live. We were 17 years together, so yeah, she knows.
Okay. So you are requesting that your information not be on the order, though, correct?
It wouldn't matter to me, as I told you, she knows where I live, so yeah, whatever.
Okay. Also, Mr. Salcedo, we are taking we're doing a confirmation of arrears. There's a medical arrears owed of $2,716.79 with a repayment of $25 beginning February 1st of 2024. And that would be your payment. Are you in agreement to that?
Just a quick question. I was told that's the repayment through the time they're living with me.
That's
So
the time that when they were living with her, right? However, the child support, it will be set, the child support arrears is at 0 as of yesterday after your possession credits. Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So in other
And
words, the amount of 2,716, Mr. Feist, already, we're giving him credit for the time the children began living with him from September 2022, right?
yes.
Okay, does that answer your question, Mr. Salcedo?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Your Honor, also, I have a question. Is it any overnight stays? Are you ordering any overnight stays?
I
I
Mr.
don't.
Has she ever had them overnight?
No.
All right, no overnight at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no, good question.
I have no further questions for Mr. Salcedo, Your Honor.
All right, then based on the testimony, the court will change the prior order and will grant possession of the 3 children to Mr. Salcedo. Child support will be set of 317 with a step down of 264 and 211. This is child support to be paid by Roxana Rodriguez beginning February 1st. There will be a medical payment. She will have to pay $100 for medical insurance. Arrears is being granted of $2,716.79. That's against Mr. Salcedo to be paid at $25, and that's after giving him credit. He will be appointed the sole managing conservator. She will have visitation the 1st, 3rd, and 5th. Saturday from 12, I think I said 12 to 6 at Maverick County Lake with no overnight at this time.
I did. Sorry,
Yes.
Your Honor. Sorry,
okay.
Your Honor, interrupting. I did have one question which I didn't understand with the work was that since that time they're living with me, she's free to pay anything to me since September 2022.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Like I being credited for the amount that I was supposed to pay, but she is free to go on anything like for child support from September 22 to this point to me.
Oh yeah, no, I can't go back that far. I can only go back. Well, let me see how far back. Are you requesting that the child support go back since then?
I thought I was, but the worker said that I couldn't.
Okay, let me check. Let me see when this was filed. All right, Mr. Salcedo, this case was filed in September of 2023, but with the first appearance, we were here in
July, I think.
No, it looks like November. Hold on. They filed it in September, asking to change to get you in order so you could begin, so the children could be living with you. They filed it and we were here in November for the first time. November. So we can go back November the 30th. We can go back as far as December 2023. I can't go back further than that, okay?
Okay.
So, but all I need from you is in December of 2023, which was just recently, the children were living with you, correct?
Yes.
And you have had them since then without interruption, right?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Vice, I guess we could go back, but then I don't know how that plays out with the credit you gave him. How far back were you giving him credit? Because it has the same effect, kind of has the same effect, Mr. Salcedo. They were giving you credit. What I mean by that is it's as if you didn't have to pay child support because you had the children. So by me setting it that far back, it may be like, we may be doing it twice. So I'm going to let him look at his notes, okay?
Right. The possession credit was $10,848.01, so it was quite a while.
So it's already including it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
Mr. Salcedo, we're already giving you credit. By that, I mean, like as if you didn't have to pay child support. Because you had the children, okay?
Yes.
Okay. That'll be the ruling of the court. Court costs will be, they will be billed to you, but there will be no attorney's fees, okay? All right, I will sign the order electronically, Mr. Salcedo. That's when it becomes final. Do you have any questions?
Am I gonna receive an email or by letter or the paperwork?
You're gonna get something from the courthouse saying I signed it. So, but it's a little postcard that says I signed the order. You can go pick up a copy at the courthouse, but I think sometimes they'll email you a copy, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
He's too chicken to hear what I want to say.
His mother is just like him. She's mean, she's hateful, and it's like she's out to get to me. She's mean to me, and it seems like if you're mean to me, you're going to be mean to my daughter.
Are you in agreement with that?
No, I'm not paying her nothing. No.
Okay.
You will make those payments or you will go to jail. There will be no other option.
This suit affecting the parent-child relationship, it doesn't appear we have any agreements. I'll call the mother. Ma'am, can you state your name for the record?
Alexandria Cyrus.
Ma'am, what are the name and age of the children or of the child or children in this case?
Deandria Cyrus Morgan, and she's 4.
Ma'am, are you asking for joint or sole managing conservatorship today?
Oh.
Who makes the day-to-day decisions for your child?
I do.
Are there any other reasons that the judge should not appoint joint managing conservatorship?
Just with the issues that we had in the past with domestic violence and all the threatening and everything that's been going on lately, like I just feel like it's safer that she just stays with me until he can get some type of counseling or something.
And ma'am, I'm talking about conservatorship. I'm not talking about visitation. Conservatorship is who has a right to make decisions over your child's life.
I've been doing that for the past 4 years anyways.
Okay. Do you have safety concerns with the father having access to the child?
Yes.
Okay, what are those concerns specifically?
Oh, well, for one reason is where he lives. At this point is one thing that concerns me and that's going on in that household, and it concerns me because it concerned me when I was there. And my daughter came back to me with blood in her panties. So I'm just concerned about her safety at this point because I still don't know what happened to my daughter.
Okay. And ma'am, who are you alleging caused that to happen to your daughter?
She told me, my mother, and my wife that her dad did it.
Have you made a CPS report?
Yes, and his caseworker told me the last day of our case being closed, his caseworker asked me, do I feel safe if my daughter goes over there with the grandmother? And I said no, because his mother is just like him. She's mean, she's hateful, and it's like she's out to get to me. She's mean to me, and it seems like if you're mean to me, you're going to be mean to my daughter. And then the other thing was he was being belligerent. Like he was talking to his caseworker crazy.
Ma'am, let's talk about specifically the child. Regarding the allegation that you're making that was reported to CPS about there being blood on your daughter's undergarments, what were the results of the CPS investigation regarding that specifically?
She just basically left it up to me if I wanted her to go see her dad or not.
Okay. And is it your testimony that the father lives with the grandmother?
Yes.
All right. Has there been a police report made regarding this allegation?
We tried to, but they said that it was a family court issue, and I couldn't do anything about it unless I took it to family court.
Okay.
Because I tried to file a restraining order and a protective order.
Did you visit the emergency room regarding this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was your daughter diagnosed with anything?
She had a urinary tract infection, and she had to be on antibiotics for 14 days.
All right. Is there anybody who the grandmother and the father live with that is a registered sex offender?
Her husband.
Okay. And how do you know that information?
I clarified it by Google search. I basically verified it myself. I heard about it, but I verified it through Google search because I didn't believe it was true.
Okay. And what website did you visit?
I just put his name on Google.
Okay. Do you have that evidence to present?
I could email it to you. I could screenshot and email it because I don't know what's going on with my camera.
Okay. Knowing all of this information, what type of visitation, if any, are you asking the judge to allow for the father?
Right now, none.
Okay. The state has calculated child support at $405. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay. What type of insurance does your child have?
Medicaid.
Do you have anything else available?
No, ma'am. Not at the moment.
Okay. The state is asking for a cash medical at $128. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
And you understand that when we calculated child support and medical support, we gave the father credit for an additional child.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as back child support, are you requesting back child support today?
Yes, ma'am.
Since, remind me again the age of the child?
She's 4.
Okay. Since the child was born, has the father provided any financial assistance?
No, not to me.
To someone else?
He buys her stuff, but he doesn't want to give it to me.
So are these things that the things that he buys, does he keep at his home?
Yes. And this is stuff that she needs for school, like clothes, shoes, everything that she needed for school, he kept there. He doesn't want me with it.
Okay. The state has calculated a retroactive judgment in the amount of $6,316 with a payout of $75. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes, ma'am.
And ma'am, just to clarify, regarding the family violence, I know we talked a little bit about your daughter and about the issues you've had with the grandmother. Between you and the father, have there been any incidents of family violence within the last 2 years?
Yes, he keeps threatening me.
Are these threats in person or by phone?
By phone, social media. He finds a way. If he could get in contact with me, he finds a way to threaten me.
And what does he say?
He's gonna kick my ass. He's gonna beat my girlfriend up. He's going to. The last thing he said before he's gonna kick my ass, he said he's gonna kill me. It's numerous of things that he's always saying. He's been saying it since 2018.
Have you presented any of this evidence or text messages to the police?
Yes, ma'am, and they still told me it was a family case. That I have to go to family court.
Okay. Do you have any additional information you would like to offer to the court?
No, ma'am.
I pass this witness and I call the father. Sir, can you state your name for the record? And sir, are you in agreement for the mother to be named sole managing conservator?
No.
Okay.
I do apologize. I actually have a pension and suit affecting the parent-child case right now that I filled out. We're just waiting to serve her with it because I'm going for full custody of my daughter.
Okay, let's take your response one at a time. Have
No. the
lawsuit that you have in your hand, have you filed that?
We haven't been able to find her address, so no, ma'am. Right now they're telling me I could do it publicly, but that's gonna cost a little bit more. Or I could find like an investigator to find her address, but that's
Okay,
all we're
sir.
really waiting on.
Do you have a cause number on that, sir?
No, not yet. I haven't turned it in at all yet, ma'am.
Okay.
Because what I've read, I need her address. And I
Okay,
don't have her address. Like I have the money and everything to get it done, but I don't have her address to serve her with her copy.
so sir, do you understand that the state has already filed a suit affecting the parent-child relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that today this court hearing is on that suit?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that since your suit has not been filed yet, that we will not consider it,
Okay, yes, ma'am.
okay? Are you asking this court to be named joint managing conservator?
I really want to go for full custody at this point and be the sole provider of my daughter. Because based on all of these allegations that I've heard today, I just want to be full custody. I want my daughter removed from her well-being.
Okay.
I just think it's right for my child.
Okay, who does the child currently live with?
I don't know. I haven't been allowed to see my daughter for a whole year. I've had allegations lied on me. And once, even though that I've been cleared of that, she still tried to push the narrative. I mean, and everything that she said with the whole, this domestic violence, and none of that stuff was stated. What was stated that I wasn't allowed to see my daughter was because I was, and once I was cleared of that, she's trying to push the narrative for something else, for me not to see my daughter. This is, and now, like, for 3 years, I've tried to send her mom and them money. I've sent her money. She stayed with me like a couple of years ago. She was living with me. Zandra was living with me. My mom had given me her apartment. So
Okay,
Zandra
sir,
staying with me at
let
the
me
time
get
with
in,
my daughter.
let me get in my next question, and then there'll be an
Yes,
opportunity to,
I apologize.
yes, okay. In this action, the state is requesting $405 for child support to be ordered. Are you in agreement with that?
No, I'm not paying her nothing. No.
Okay. Do you think we calculated it wrong?
No, I'm just not paying that Ms. Andrea Cyrus a dime. I'm not paying
Okay.
her zero. I'm paying her $0.
Understood. Do you have private insurance available for your child?
I do have, through my job, I can get it through my job. Yes, ma'am.
Is your child currently enrolled today?
I do, ma'am, I haven't been able to have no thing with my daughter for a whole year. Like, I've tried to contact them and stuff, and it's just been threats. Like, I have a bunch of stuff where I've tried to send them, like I said, I have stuff where I've tried to send them money, where her mom and them have told me they don't want money from me, stop sending them money. They request a DNA test, or then another time, she's my daughter, that I'm just a sperm donor. So it's just been madness for a whole year. So any question that you have towards me knowing anything about my daughter, I do not know.
Okay, so let's get to that in a moment. Regarding the $128, you don't agree with the reimbursing the state?
No.
Okay.
I can put her on my insurance.
Okay, understood. Did you hear earlier where the state had calculated a retroactive judgment of 6,316? Okay.
No, ma'am.
I hear you that you don't agree with it.
Please stop talking, sir. Wait for the question to be asked before you start asking. The court reporter is trying to type down everything's being said. One person at a time, not all at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Repeat your question, Ms. Correa.
You said you don't agree with the retroactive support, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You said you tried to reach out to the mother before. What happened when you would try to provide support before?
When I tried to, because from my knowledge, my daughter is always with her mother. Zandria really doesn't even be around our daughter like that. From my knowledge, from her brother has stated she doesn't really do nothing for our daughter.
Sir.
Her mother has stated.
Sir,
yes,
answer my question.
Well, yes, ma'am. It was just she told me to stop sending them money, that she wants a DNA test. That's what her mother told me.
Okay, thank you. As far as the allegations that the mother made regarding her daughter coming back to her home with an injury, what is your response?
So from my knowledge, I did find out she had a UTI infection, and I was cleared of the alternate. I have the paperwork, so I was cleared of the narrative. I didn't really know, because I didn't get to take her to the doctor. I didn't see her after the information, so I couldn't really tell you what happened. I just know she had a UTI and that I was cleared.
Okay. Sir, did you hurt your child?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And sir, do you live with your mother?
Yes, ma'am. At the moment, yes, ma'am.
Is her partner a registered sex offender?
From my knowledge, I do believe.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How long have you been living with your mother?
I moved back with her about a year ago, since last year of September.
Is it your intention to remain living with your mother?
No, ma'am. I'm planning on getting an apartment in January.
Have you put down a deposit or signed a lease?
No, ma'am. Right now, I'm just trying to save up all the money I can.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything additional you would like to offer to the court?
I just want to see my daughter. That's all I want to do. I just want to see my daughter at this point. But like I said, I want to do the best possible way that we can come to agreement for me to see my daughter.
I pass this witness.
Okay, give me just a moment. All right, let me go ahead and make a ruling. Making a ruling, let's see. I'm making a ruling the finding of family violence has occurred in this case. We're gonna do sole managing where Ms. Cyrus will be the one to determine the child's primary residence and make decisions regarding the child. You have access, father has access to some information, but mother will make decisions since y'all aren't able to reach any agreements. Ms. Cyrus's address is granted to be set out at a non-disclosure, so she's not required to let the father know her address due to the issues that have been proposed today. Child support has to be ordered. I don't understand why you would be opposed to that. You have a child, you have a financial duty. Your financial obligation is child support of $405 a month. You will make those payments or you will go to jail. There will be no other option. Government medical for health insurance. If you want to carry insurance through your own insurance, you can, but you need to show us proof of that insurance. You are the father. You've been the father for 4 years. I don't know what you're waiting on as far as health insurance is concerned. You don't need Ms. Cyrus's agreement to put the child on your insurance. You could have done that already. But if it's cheaper than $128, then you can definitely do that after you show proof to the mother and the Attorney General's office. Then they can stop trying to collect the $128, but otherwise you got to pay $128 of medical. Ms. Correa, I didn't get a child support amount. What was the proposed child support amount?
Child support amount at $405.
Oh, okay, I think I just wrote it twice on my paper. Sorry. Okay. I understand you tried to make payments to her, but you didn't make payments for whatever reason. Maybe it wasn't your fault.
No,
but
I did.
Retroactive judgment is $6,316 payable at $75 a month. Just because, excuse me, I'm talking. I'm making a finding that Mr. Morgan lives with a registered sex offender. There are serious allegations that have been made regarding the child being sexually abused, possibly in the father's care. That's a huge red flag there. I'm not necessarily saying that you did something, Mr. Morgan, but I also heard that you haven't done any investigation of your own to find out why that occurred, or if somebody else in your care or somebody around you
it was
did
in
something
her
to your
care. I know why
child.
it occurred,
So I'm making a finding that we should not have standard visitation. It needs to be supervised visitation until there's further orders of the court. You're going to do supervised visitation through the Faith and Liberty Place, which is the agency that does supervised visitation in Dallas. You both need to fill out information to do that. So you need to contact Faith and Liberty Place after you get a copy of the order. That visitation will be from 12 to 2. Mr. Morgan, you need to notify Ms. Cyrus 24 hours before you intend to visit. If you don't send her notice, and I see you're shaking your head, which I guess that means you're not going to do your visitation, then I'm not going to require her to appear. So she's not required to appear unless you give her notice of your intent to visit. Court cost is billed to Mr. Morgan. All right. That is my order. I'm not going to argue with y'all if y'all don't agree to it. The court, the Attorney General's office will draft an order for me to sign, and then they will email you a copy. Until things change, that'll be the order of the court. Y'all are done with court. You can press leave on the Zoom to exit out. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
What days were the visitation, Your Honor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do first and third Saturdays.
First and third Saturdays, because he left, so okay, that's fine with me.
Make sure he has a way to contact you, okay?
I try to, but he's gonna be a hard-headed about this now.
I understand. He was hard-headed today anyway. Let me add on here. We're gonna add that what's the Miss Cody? I forgot the name of the thing that we use for communication. What was it called again? That we used?
App Close.
App Close, yeah. Okay, so Miss Cyrus, you ordered to add an app on your phone called App Close. That'll be a way that y'all can privately communicate with each other. And if you need to print it out for any future court proceedings, you can print them out. So you need to do on your end, your part, and then he'll need to do his. And that way y'all can communicate through there without him having your address or him having to contact you through a phone, okay?
It sounds great. And you said, what was the app name again?
It's App Close, AppClose.
Okay, I will definitely download it today.
If he reaches out to you afterwards, obviously he's not here to hear that part because he's too chicken to hear what I want to say.
Yes.
Then you want to tell him, hey, you need to go to the app close. It's going to be in the court order, but he probably won't read it.
I just tell his oldest daughter mom, and she'll relate it to him, because that's basically how we was keeping contact with through the other baby mother.
Okay, well, we want to avoid that too. So use the app so that y'all can communicate that way, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. You are done with court, Ms. Cyrus. You can press leave on the Zoom to exit out. Thank you.
How am I, I live on $1,000 a month, so paying $300, what am I looking at there? I've been on disability now for a few years, and I live on, minimal funds, obviously, because they don't pay very much. So I just feel like, John has taken every advantage that he can of me in the past and still does. So I'm unaware about any, yeah, I think so, but there was the child support was completely stricken.
I don't see that order of 2012 was ever stricken, so it's still in effect.
All I know is that there was never any child support.
Is there an order that says that child support was waived?
Before you start, are there any agreements?
No, Your Honor, not at this time.
Is this a custody dispute?
Yes, it is. Well, no, not really. I mean, it's possession and conservatorship, but not.
Who has primary?
It's my understanding she has not asked for custody.
Okay. You may proceed, Ms. Sorrells.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Purdy, will you state your name for the record?
Trey Tyler Purdy.
And what is the name of the child we're here for today?
Waylon Carroll Purdy.
And when was Waylon born?
10/10/2018.
And you and Waylon currently resides with you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's in Liberty?
Yes, ma'am.
And the mother is Kelsey Ray Hall, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At the time of Waylon's birth, or about the time of Waylon's birth, you signed an acknowledgement of paternity, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And Miss Kelsey signed that also with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Your Honor, we would offer as State's Exhibit 1 the acknowledgement of paternity.
And does anyone have any objection to me admitting that as State's Exhibit 1?
No objection, Your Honor.
No, ma'am. Mr. Purdy, how long has Waylon lived with you?
Yes, ma'am, for about 2.5 years now.
Thank you. Who makes the day-to-day decisions for Waylon?
Me.
And who makes the important decisions about residency and school for Waylon?
Me.
All right. When was the last time that Miss Hall saw Waylon?
I believe in the beginning of August.
And that was
for, yes, ma'am.
And that was for a visitation visit?
Yes, ma'am. I had dropped him off with her mother, his grandma.
Okay. And that visit lasted for a weekend or a week?
I believe it was right at a week.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Purdy, today, do you have any safety concerns with Waylon visiting Miss Hall?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what are those?
There's been times in the past that she was not very responsible with his well-being or the environment that she has had him in. And also the fact that, if an emergency were to happen, there is no vehicle to get him anywhere or anything of that sort.
Okay. In fact, Mr. Purdy, Waylon was placed in your care at the direction of Child Protective Services, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And that was back when in 2022, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you here today seeking to have the court name you as sole managing conservator of Waylon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you believe that you being named sole managing conservator is in the best interest of Waylon?
100%.
All right. Do you have, are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have insurance available for Waylon, but it's not through your employer, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so he will be covered on an insurance policy at your expense, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any, do you know how much the medical insurance costs per month? Do you have that in?
The previous quote that I had got, actually about 2 days ago, was $465 a month. And the insurance, I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh, and I was gonna say the insurance through my employer comes out to about $1,200 a month.
Okay. And that 465 is for both you and Waylon?
Yes, ma'am. The 465 would be for me and Waylon for medical, dental, and vision.
Your Honor, I would pass the witness at this time.
Okay, Ms. Dennis, do you have any questions for Mr. Purdy?
Yes, just a few, Your Honor. Mr. Purdy, where do you currently reside?
Liberty, Texas.
And describe your residence. How many bedrooms, how many baths?
It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Okay, and so Waylon has his own room while he's with you?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
And who resides with you other than Waylon?
My fiance, Mackenzie.
And do y'all have a wedding date?
Yes, ma'am, November 16th next month.
Okay, so y'all will be married at that point.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with your job, sometimes you have to work overtime. Who is keeping Waylon during those times?
I'd say 90% of the time would be my stepmother. And
Okay.
there's other times, you know, every now and then my best friend and his wife will watch Waylon as they have children his age and they go to school together.
Okay, so you have plans for if you have overtime at work?
Oh,
which you're
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
And Waylon currently goes to school?
Yes, ma'am.
What grade is he in?
Kindergarten.
What school district?
He goes to school in Dayton.
Okay. And how's he doing in school?
He's doing all right. His as far as like his math and all that stuff goes, he's doing really well. We have behavioral issues with him in school, but we are trying to get that sorted out through the school system right now.
Okay, so does he go to a counselor there or you're working with them? He's
Yes,
getting the
ma'am.
care that he needs, correct?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. We have met with people in the school system to try to get him some extra help in school. But yes, ma'am, everything's starting to piece together.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Hall, do you have any questions for Mr. Purdy?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Sorrells, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, I call Ms. Hall. Ms. Hall, will you state your name, please, your full name?
Kelsey Ray Hall.
And you're the mother of Waylon Carroll Purdy, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Waylon resides with his father, Mr. Purdy, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have had some visits with Waylon, correct?
As much as Trey will allow me, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that, I believe that last visit was in the beginning of the end of August was Mr. Purdy's, and Waylon stayed with you, correct?
Yes. But he did not bring him to us. We went to Liberty to pick him up because we do have a vehicle here.
Okay.
We do. My mom and dad went all the way to Liberty Walmart and picked him up. And it was Father's Day weekend whenever we had him the whole week.
Okay. So
whatever that was.
Okay. You currently reside in a home with your parents, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And are you currently employed?
No, ma'am.
Are there any reasons you cannot work?
No, ma'am. I just not employed right now. I'm trying to find a job.
Okay. I'll pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Dennis, do you have any questions for Ms. Hall?
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Ms. Hall, that visit that you had with Waylon, it was only agreed to by Mr. Purdy because it was at your mother's house, correct?
No, I just thought he just told me that I could see my kid.
Okay. CPS removed your child because you have a criminal history, but you have issues with drugs. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, but I'm 6 months clean and sober.
Okay. Have you been doing any?
That's half a year.
Sorry,
Have
I'm
you
not
been
getting
doing
hear
that?
that. When you all talk over each other, I can't hear anything. So I'm not sure what Ms. Hall just
Yes,
said.
ma'am. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
What, could you repeat
Do I
what
need
you,
to repeat myself? I said, yes, ma'am. I do have a criminal history and I have had problems with drug in the past, but I'm half a year sober. I've been clean for 6 months.
have you taken any drug tests during that 6 months?
Yes, my parents drug test me on a regular.
And actually, you've had several charges for possession. Isn't that correct? In several different Montgomery County, Splendora, burglary.
Yes, ma'am. That burglary got dropped. So no, I don't have that on my criminal record. Someone made that story up, and that's why the charges got dropped. I did have problems with drugs in the past. Like I said, everyone falls on hard times, but I'm 6 months clean and sober, trying to get my life right. And if we live in the past where I made mistakes, then we can't move forward. I'm 6 months clean. I have no problems taking drug tests. My parents drug test me regularly so I could stay here. I've never made a bad decision on Waylon's part. Anytime that I was doing drugs, he was never around. He stayed with my parents. I tried to be as responsible as I could at the time.
Do you have any mental health issues, Ms. Hall?
No, ma'am.
How many children do you currently have?
I have 4 children, but my daughter passed away. So
Okay.
3 living.
How many do you have custody of?
I have custody of all my kids, I thought, until today. I didn't know that I didn't have custody of Waylon.
You actually don't have custody of your oldest son, is that correct? Dad has that child.
I mean, I have his dad, but I have custody of my youngest.
You actually signed away custody of that child to your mother, isn't that correct? You signed your
No,
parental rights away?
no. I never signed my parental rights away. I gave my mother power of attorney. Never once have I signed any of my rights away to any of my children. I would never do that, no matter any circumstance, because I love my children. My mother had power of attorney of my kids.
Hold
not
on, Mr.
parental
Purdy,
rights.
there seems to be a lot of noise coming from wherever you are, and it's very distracting. Can you go somewhere where there's less background noise?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. The trash truck is coming down my road right now. So,
Well, if we need to wait and hold this hearing later, we can, but it's very distracting having dogs. And I'm not sure what the other noise is.
yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Like I said, the trash truck come down the road and it's got the dogs stirred up. Let me see if I can. I think the truck is passed. I can step outside now.
You may proceed, Ms. Dennis. Sorry about that.
No problem. Ms. Hall, do you currently have a driver's license?
Yes.
And how far away do you live from school, from where Waylon's going to school, would you say? How far is it?
What? From where Waylon's going to school? No, sorry, Mom, stop talking to me. I live in Splendora.
Okay.
And he goes to school in Dayton, so I don't know how many miles that would be. I can't give you an exact mileage from Splendora to Dayton.
Okay, would you be willing to take a drug test to show that you're not on drugs?
Absolutely.
Before any visitation would to occur?
Absolutely. But I'm not sure why it's a problem now, but I could have him a week without a drug test. Not even that long ago.
But it was supervised by your mom, correct? It was supposed to be supervised,
but it would
with your mom there.
It would still be supervised. I live with my mom, so it'd be supervised every time. I have no problem taking a drug test. I'm just not sure why all of this is necessary when I had him for a week last month. Why was that okay? Because it was okay for Trey to have me for a week. Now it's a problem. It's not making any sense to me. I just don't think it seems too fair. for me or my child, you know, because I do love him.
Ms. Hall, have you been to rehab?
No.
Do you go to Narcotics Anonymous or anything like that?
No.
Do you have any support system to help you with the drug issues that you had? Did you do anything to help with those?
Think I'm doing good. I'm 6 months sober, so I could say I'm doing a lot better than most people. I think my support system's doing great at this point. 6 months is a long time for a drug addict, correct?
Have you ever, excuse me, sorry. Have you ever supported Waylon in the past 2 years?
Yes, he lived with me the first years of his life when me and Trey split up, he was still living with me up until CPS took him from me. Took him. He got removed from my care.
When's the last time you had a job?
Last year. I was working at 7-Eleven.
Okay, and how long did you work there?
Like 6 months.
Did you quit or were you fired?
I don't understand what this is relevant to, but I was let go because I didn't call in one day because I had a flat tire.
Okay. Have you ever been to prison or jail?
Never been to prison. I have been to jail.
How long were you in jail?
I've never went for more than 2 months.
When was the last time?
Not a long period of time. I've never been to prison. Last time I was in jail was April of this year.
Yeah, I passed the witness, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Ross, do you have any further questions for Ms. Hall?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. Do you have any other witnesses?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Dennis, do you have any witnesses you'd like to call?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Hall, the state does not represent you, and you're here representing yourself today. So if there's
Yes,
anything
ma'am.
additional you'd like to say, you may say it. Ms. Dennis, feel free to interrupt with legal objections. I know this is a little unorthodox. Ms. Hall, you may proceed.
I know that I've made bad decisions in the past, but I am a good mom and I do love my kids more than anything. And I know it seems like people make bad decisions, but I'm 6 months sober and I'm trying my best. And that's all I can do. My son loves me and he misses me and I know he does. And I'm sorry that I've made bad decisions in the past, but 6 months is a good thing. And I'm trying, and people around me can see that I'm trying. I have no problems taking drug tests, but I don't want to lose custody of my son. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have anything further?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Would you all like to make closings? Ms. Dennis, I guess we'll start with you.
Your Honor, Mr. Purdy is just asking that he, due to the circumstances and the past decisions that Ms. Hall has made, that the child be protected and that we have some supervised visits. She has a long history, an extensive history of drug use and other criminal behavior. We're requesting that she just do drug testing. If she's clean, then obviously we'll let her see the child. We just want to protect him and not keep her from him, but protect him, keep him where he is, and make good decisions for him. That's what Mr. Purdy's asking today.
And can you clarify that? Because there's a lot of different ways that could be ruled upon.
Well, yes, ma'am, I apologize. So what we're asking for is that she complete a drug test, at least,
actually, it looked like somebody filed a proposed order in this case? Obviously, it's a default, so not, was that drafted by you, Ms. Dennis?
Yes, but we didn't have the drug testing in there, Your Honor. I'm
Okay,
sorry, I
okay,
made a
no worries.
mistake. Yes.
So,
But it
yeah,
does have the supervised visits with an agency of Mrs. Hall's choice if she chooses visiting angels or somewhere else. We would like to have random drug testing at least once a quarter to make sure that she is continuing to stay sober and drug free. We would like the supervised visits. Mr. Whalen is going to provide the health and dental to make sure that gets taken care of. Right now, we're not asking for child support. He would like to be reimbursed for the cost of the insurance that he's having to pay just for Whalen, obviously not for him and Whalen. And that she has supervised visits at, once, at least twice a month, but supervised by a supervisor for a couple of hours. And that's what Mr. Whalen's asking for.
It's not fair, dude, because I just had him for a week last month. How is this fair?
But he was supposed to be with your mother the whole time, or your sister.
Trey agreed to let me have him. And I'm sorry that I'm making this a big deal, but Trey was dropping him off with me. We met at Walmart and he knew that. And then he let me have him before that. Also, right after I got out of jail, since we're bringing it up, right after I got out of jail, I got Whalen. And Trey brought him to me, not my mom. He let Whalen come spend the weekend with me. So how is this fair that I have to have supervised visits now when I've had him since I got out? Unsupervised, and Trey allowed it.
Ms. Sorrells, would you
Yes,
like to make closing?
Your Honor, we just ask that you establish conservatorship and possession based upon the testimony as you see fit with child support. The parties have both agreed that child support, the testimony was that they would set it at 0 with medical support being paid for by Mr. Purdy through a private source.
Asking for reimbursement for that or no?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Asking for reimbursement through that with the for the portion covering Wayland for that amount, Your Honor, which I believe would have been $283 a month.
Ms. Hall, is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna take a moment to review everything. I'll be back. No worries. Okay, I'm going to make my ruling. I'm ordering that Mr. Purdy is the managing conservator, Ms. Hall is the possessory conservator, and that Mr. Purdy will have the right to determine the primary residence of Wayland within Liberty or any county that touches Liberty County. I'm going to order supervised visits. I'm going to like that language you had in the beginning of yours that said nothing in this order shall supersede any terms of any protective order, condition of bond, probation, or parole. So I'm including that. That was in Ms. Dennis's proposed order. I'm ordering that Ms. Hall make herself available and participate in drug testing at least quarterly, so at least once every 3 months. Upon passing a drug test, well, not showing as having drugs, I don't want to confuse that, but once she takes a drug test that shows she is not using any drugs, she can have visits. She's entitled to visits. And I did the 2nd and 4th. Ms. Hall, when do you visit with your other children?
I have one of my sons full time, and
Okay.
the other one, it's whenever I want.
Okay. So we'll keep this on the 2nd and 4th weekends. Friday from 6 p.m. to Sunday at 6 p.m. to be supervised by her mother at her mother's home. This is where it gets a little complex. If her mother is not available to supervise, This will revert to the second and fourth weekends from 1 to 5 to be supervised by Mr. Purdy or a competent adult designated by him at his residence or other mutually agreed upon location. If she fails a drug test or fails to take one quarterly, she will revert to one of those programs, Ms. Dennis, and you could put both options you had stated in the order at her expense, and that would continue until she takes the drug test and shows she's clean.
Ma'am, what does that mean?
If
You just said
if you end up
programs.
using drugs and you show that you're on drugs, your visitation would no longer be supervised by your parents at your parents' house. At that point, it would
Okay.
be through a program where they could more closely monitor you, because your parents aren't prepared to deal with that. And then
Okay,
quite
yes,
frankly, I'm
ma'am.
not sure you'll even be accepted into the program if you come there high or anything. Hopefully this doesn't happen. It sounds like you've been 6 months sober. Hopefully you'll continue with that. But if you fall
Yes,
off the
ma'am.
wagon again, this is just to protect Waylon.
I understand that completely. Yes, ma'am.
And so,
And will these drug tests, sorry for interrupting, Ken, will they be like through the courts, or how will they be done?
the courts
How will I need to do
have a
them? So I
program.
know.
Since this is civil court, Ms. Dennis, do you have a proposed place she does the tests or the type of test you're requesting?
Or like, do we just buy one and Trey look at? I'm not sure how they want to do it.
Ms. Dennis, you're on mute.
I apologize. I forgot I had
Okay.
muted. We usually propose national screening. They should have one in Splendora, but if not, one as close, to her residence as possible. We can get that address.
What's it called?
National screening.
National screening?
Screening, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And it'll be in
All
the
right.
order and the address. I'll get the one closest to you in Splendora, as closest to you as I can.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
No
And
problem.
will these orders be sent to me via email or
somebody's gonna draft this order, and they will circulate it for signature. They'll either send it to you through email or be mailing it to you, I'm guessing.
Okay.
How do y'all plan on circulating it?
If she'll give us her email address, I'll make sure she gets it through email, and she can even electronically sign it if she wants. We have that ability.
I have given my email address to the OAG. I'm pretty sure y'all have it because y'all are the ones that gave it to them. It's the Kels Ray at Outlook.
Right now we're on YouTube, ma'am, so let's wait until we're done with the ruling, and then we can go on
okay.
YouTube
Sorry.
and you can
Okay,
share that
I'm sorry.
information. I just don't want the world, I don't know if the world's
I'm
watching,
sorry.
but I don't want the world or random people emailing you. So just, yeah.
I
'cause
understand. I'm sorry. I
they're-
didn't know we were on YouTube.
That's okay. So where were we? So if her mother was not available, it was 1 to 5, supervised by Mr. Purdy or someone he designates, either at his home or some mutually agreed location. She has to submit those quarterly results. If she fails the test or doesn't take one, it reverts to one of those programs until she completes a drug test and comes out clean. I'm also ordering an injunction against Ms. Hall for using any illicit drugs or alcohol within 24 hours or during visits with Waylon.
I don't drink, so we're good on that, and I don't use drugs anymore, so
Now,
we'll be
hopefully
good.
these are just here in case. I'm going to order that child support is set at 0. The deviation is because she is recovering from the drug addiction and paying for drug testing. The cash medical support, I'm going to order that Mr. Purdy provide insurance and dental support through another source, and order that that Ms. Hall pay to him cash medical support. I believe it was $233 because I think it was $465 a month, and so half of that is $233. So I'm ordering that he pay $233. To pay him $233 beginning November 1st of 2024. I'm not ordering any back support, and I didn't hear any request for a non-disclosure, so I'm denying the AG's request for that. And I'm ordering court costs, that Ms. Hall pay any court costs as billed by Liberty County by October 1st of 2025. I think that covers everything. And so, yes, does anyone have any questions about the ruling before?
I got October of 25. I didn't get the day of that she has to pay
Oh,
the court cost.
October 1st.
First, okay.
Get simple.
Will that be included in the, like the amount of the court costs, or will y'all bill me, or how will that work?
It's through Liberty County. I don't know if they're sending bills or not, or if you have to just reach out to the county. But that's not through the
Okay,
Attorney
okay.
General's office.
Okay, so it would be like, who would I call, like the DA or?
The district clerk's office.
Oh, district clerk. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
When you look at her income, again, just blatant dishonesty with the court. She'll tell you what you want to hear the day you want to hear it to get her way.
I've been on child support since I was like 16 years old, and maybe about a year after that, Anaya was with me majority of the time.
First, Mr. Harris, can I get you to state your name for the record?
Yes, sir. Damon Harris.
And Mr. Harris, can I get you to state the name of the child or children that we're here in reference to?
Yes, Anaya Harris.
And who does that child currently reside with?
Me.
And how long has the child been residing with you, sir?
Pretty much all her life, but full time since 2015.
And did the CPS get involved in this matter and have the child removed, or did you just remove the child from the prior residence?
No, sir. Her mother then had previous CPS cases for her other kids, and she was never allowed to supervise her kids without, I guess, supervision. And back in kindergarten, when Anaya was in kindergarten, she didn't enroll her into school. So that kind of what motivated me to bring her on my side. And she's been with me ever since.
And as it relates to the, you spoke about the children, the other children, just to confirm, you stated that those children are no longer residing with the mother as well. Is that correct?
Of my knowledge, I'm not 100% sure, but of my knowledge.
All right, and as it relates to the visitation going forward with this child, would you be in agreement to the mother having visitation on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays of the month from 10 to 2, with the supervision to be done by the paternal grandmother, Ms. Harris?
Yes.
And as it relates to the insurance for the child in this matter, are you in agreement to carry state medical?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that the state used the mom's income to calculate support? I'm requesting that the mother pays a total of $114 per month for medical support.
Yes, sir.
And are you in agreement with this today, sir?
Yes, sir.
And are you also in agreement to the mother paying a total of $258 per month for child support?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that based off of your possession credits with the child currently residing with you, the state has calculated that child support and medical support should both be set at $0 as of yesterday, June 14th, 2023?
Yes, sir.
And do you have the other party's information, such as her address and telephone number?
I just got word that she moved, but I don't have an apartment number.
All right.
And the address that I put on the application, that was her most recent one, and that was her mother's address.
And does the other party have your information, such as your address and telephone information?
Yes, sir.
Has there been any issues relating to family violence between the two parties?
Yes, sir.
And when did that take place, sir?
She had, I would say between me and her, it haven't been in 10 years, 10, 12 years, but she has other cases and stuff where, she didn't fault her mother husband. And I think her first CPS case was from her stabbing her boyfriend / husband at the time. And the last time I sent Anaya over there, Ashley cut her hair while she was sleeping.
Okay, sir. And your request for the supervised visitation is based off of those incidents that you previously spoke about. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, your request that the mother have supervised visits are based off of those incidents that you just spoke about. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And additionally, based off of those incidents, are you requesting that you be named as the sole managing conservator?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel that it would be in the child's best interest that you be named as the sole managing conservator?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel that you and the other parties to this case would not be able to make decisions together that would be in the child's best interest?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any additional information you'd like to offer to the court at this time as it relates to this case?
No, sir. Just besides the fact that I've been on child support since I was like 16 years old, and maybe about a year after that, Anaya was with me majority of the time. And like I said, since 2015, she haven't really been over at her mom's that much at all. And the main reason why I just allowed to continue to pay child support, because I just didn't have the resources to, to try to change that. And I didn't want to disturb what me and Anaya had already had. I currently work for the state of Texas as a child care investigator, and I get other opportunities presented to me to, work certain jobs in other counties and cities. And this is kind of the main reason, that's one of the main reasons that kind of motivated me to, I guess, go through this, because I don't want Anaya, anything to disturb Anaya's well-being with, and what she has going with me.
And sir, I'm sorry.
Oh, and, and like I just want to note that, I never want to keep Anaya from her family, but just like I said, the well-being, the times that she have been over there, and there has been times where she wasn't fed, times she haven't seen her mom in 2 days. She had witnessed suicidal moments with her mother, such as her trying to hang herself and things like that. I just don't want my daughter to really be involved in stuff like that, if I can help it.
Okay, sir. And do you understand that based off of what you previously provided as it relates to you having the child in your possession, that the state is requesting the judgment that we spoke about earlier with the possession credits, taking the judgment in the amount of $0?
Yes, sir.
All right, nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Our default judgment granted as requested. The Attorney General's office will draft an order for me to sign. Then they'll start processing the change of the child support arrears and the medical support arrears, as well as trying to enforce the child support to get her to pay the money. So just give them a little time for them to have that to happen, just a couple weeks maybe, for them to make those changes. You're done with court, Mr. Harris. You can press leave on the Zoom to exit out. Thank you.
Had he made any other contributions to your home before Zamir was born?
No.
Did he pay a water bill before Zamir was born?
Kind of sounds strange, though. We're kind of not believing it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Something doesn't sound right, but okay.
Ms. Jackson, I understand that earlier this year you contacted CPS because you were concerned about your ability to take care of your children. Is that correct?
Yes.
And your intent was to temporarily place your children with other homes while you yourself got your life together. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Was it ever your intent to permanently place your children in another home?
No.
Okay. And so you have one child. There's only one child in question for this case. Is that correct?
Yes.
But you have 3 children total.
Yes.
And that child the child in question today is Zamir.
Yes.
Mr. Zamir's dad is here, Mr. Wilford. Did Mr. Wilford accept custody of Zamir?
Yes.
And did he do so voluntarily?
He did so voluntarily through Ms. Blissett.
Okay. Did you call him before Ms. Blissett contacted Mr. Wilford to ask him to take?
No, because I advised her that me and him wasn't on speaking terms at the moment.
Okay, thank you. So, I think I had already asked the CPS investigator, but just to be clear, your baby was born in June, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And since June, has Mr. Wilford paid child support?
No.
Was the baby in your custody that entire time?
Yes.
Did Mr. Wilford help in other ways financially?
Yes.
What ways did he help?
He had bought him diapers and wipes here and there, and he helped my mom pay her light bill.
And that is since Zamir has been born, is that correct?
Yes.
Had he made any other contributions to your home before Zamir was born?
No.
Did he pay a water bill before Zamir was born?
Yes, but Zamir wasn't even conceived then.
Okay. And that water bill, is that an amount that Mr. Wilford has asked for you to pay back?
Yes.
Okay. That water bill amount was for about $300, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the amount for the electricity bill for your mother was about $60, is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that he's also purchased Zamir clothing, is that correct?
Yes.
Clothing and anything else? Has he purchased diapers or anything when Zamir was with you?
Diapers and wipes.
Diapers, wipes, and clothing. Okay. How much would you say he probably spent on those items? Do you know? And it's okay if you don't.
I would say probably like less than $80.
Okay. And so since Zamir has been born, it's been about $80 and $60 that you would attribute to his Mr. Wilford's contributions to Zamir. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Jackson, you just got a job that you're going to start today. Is that correct?
Yes, at a store right across the street from where I stay at.
Okay. And what are your hours there?
From 2 in the afternoon to 8 at night.
Okay. When you initiated the CPS investigation, were you working?
I had just lost my job.
Okay. Did you have a home at that time?
I was still staying with my mom.
Okay. What happened with your mother on why you needed a new home?
Her lease was up and my mom pretty much, been taking care of all of us as a single mom, and my sister was staying there with her kids as well. And the only reason why I moved back in with my mom is because I had a previous place and my lease was up, and I was still waiting on my housing application to go through. So I ended up staying with my mom for like a whole year, and she was just ready to finally just be in her own space on her own. So she decided not to renew her lease, and she had got her a 1-bedroom apartment in Carper's Cove.
Okay. Ms. Jackson, did you have you had a drug issue?
Yes, I have.
And are you in a plan to address that drug issue now?
Yes, I had my assessment yesterday with OSAR. So they got me taking classes, and I also have to see a therapist for my mental health.
Okay. CPS closed the investigation already, but did they express any concern about whether or not you can parent a child?
No, they did not. They didn't have no concerns about that at all. They told me I still had all rights to visit my kids as long as I was supervised by my mom, because she's on the safety plan. They told me I still had all rights to my kids. It wasn't like a custody thing that was put in place. It was just a safety plan for me to get myself together temporarily so I can get them back placed with me. So it never wasn't a concern as far as the safety of me being around my kids at all.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
All right, Mr. Morgan, you're a witness.
Ma'am, you're just asking today that you have some temporary possession until the next hearing?
Yes.
All right, that's all the questions I have. I'll pass the witness.
All right, ma'am, where are you currently live? Are you living with anyone right now?
I'm currently living by myself.
All right, is this an apartment, a house? What are we talking about?
It's an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment.
Okay, are the other two children there, or are they still out with other parties?
They're still with other parties.
And this apartment you're living at, is that you're renting that?
Yes, sir, through housing.
All right, so this is in your name.
Mm-hmm. And all my
Right.
kids are on the lease as well.
All right, thank you. You may call your next witness then, Ms. Todd. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I called Mr. Donzel Wilford.
Mr. Wilford, you there, sir?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right, please state your name for the record, sir.
Donzel Wilford.
All right, thank you very much. You may proceed, Ms. Todd.
Yes, okay. Mr. Wilford, we don't have a lot of time, so I am going to ask that I'm going to try to be as direct as possible so that you'll have an opportunity to be heard by the judge at our next hearing. For purposes of today, I would like for a temporary order to be put in place for you to maintain possession of your child until our next hearing. Are you agreeable to maintain possession of your child until then?
Yes, ma'am.
I also want to make a recommendation that you are not put on orders to pay child support retroactively for Zamir, as well as Ms. Jackson is not put on child support right now because we need to do math on how much was due to Ms. Jackson before you had custody of Zamir. Are you agreeable with waiting to address child support until the special hearing, the next hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Then I have no further questions of this witness at this time, Your Honor.
All right, then. Sir, which city you live in?
Yes, sir. I'm in Harker Heights, Texas.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, I've said Texas.
And no questions from the state judge.
All right, Ms. Jackson, which city you live in?
I'm in Killeen.
All right, how far from Harker Heights are you, ma'am?
About 10 minutes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Todd, is there any specific access or visitation you're asking for Ms. Jackson at this time?
I think standard visitation would be appropriate for Ms. Jackson. Considering the CPS concerns, Your Honor, I am asking that we put in place that visitation will be supervised until our next hearing, Your Honor.
All right, see, I wasn't sure if CPS was thinking until I make an order, because again, their safety plan doesn't control me, so.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Just because she is still under a safety plan for drug use, Your Honor, I'm just thinking in best interest of the child, we'll continue on what the safety plan was, Your Honor. But honestly, I don't personally have any concerns about Ms. Jackson seeing her child without supervision. I just thought that considering the present safety plan, that it might be best for the next couple of months until we can meet again for a special hearing, Your Honor.
All right, then, Ms. Jackson, what's your work schedule on Saturdays and Sundays?
You're muted, Ms. Jackson.
Right now, they have me off on Saturdays and Sundays.
All right, then. And if I was to give you, say, from 10 a.m. on Saturday to 6 p.m. on Saturday, then again 10 a.m. on Sunday to 6 p.m. on Sunday going forward, but you having to do the pickup and drop off at Mr. Wilford's, and then have your mom there for those time frames, for those daytime visits. Well, can you get that done, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You got good enough transportation for that?
Yes, sir, my mom.
All right, good enough then. All right, folks, again, my apologies. I didn't know I was going to have a dental appointment today till a couple of weeks ago, so it is what it is. But the bottom line, so I hate to rush through this, but I'm gonna go ahead and look at doing a temporary order, naming you both temporary joint management service. Let the child will remain with Mr. Wilford until further order of the court. I'm going to not, I'm going to take up the issues of of child support, retroactive child support, all that at a future hearing. I'm not even sure it's going to be at the next hearing because we still might need further temporary orders at that point. But for right now, we'll take that up at a future hearing. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and order visitation every Saturday and Sunday going forward from and let me go ahead and just move it 11 a.m. on Saturday to 5 p.m. To 5 p.m. on 6 p.m. on Saturday, 11 p.m. on 11 a.m. on Sunday to 6 p.m. on Sunday, with Miss Jackson picking the child up and dropping the child off.
Judge, I just want to confirm that really quick. That was 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on both Saturday and Sunday?
Okay. Both days. I'm not doing it. I was thinking about trying to get over, start working some overnights, but no, I'm going to go ahead and just do the daytime. That way her mom can be present and we can, and hopefully she won't be too inconvenienced with those 2 days. And again, those visitations are restricted to be in the presence of a mother. But her mother doesn't have to be with her at the pickup and drop off, But ma'am, just a CYA, just to cover yourself, once you get to your mom's house, get out that little magical computer you have in your pocket called a cell phone and start taking a couple of pictures. They're geo-tagged and they're timestamped, so they'll verify that. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see.
Ms. Todd, quick question. Are you aware the guardian ad litem had set up visitation and office visits? The guardian ad litem lady, she said she can have office visits that she never showed, that they never came to. They was supposed to set them up where she can come for 2 hours in the office, and they never set that up the past few weeks. So
all right, Mr. Wilford, well, today the court order is going to say that this is what the visitation schedule is, okay?
Understood, Mr. Morgan, understood. I was just asking Ms. Todd if she was aware of that.
Right, you can inform her about that after the hearing, sir.
Again, sir, we're in the, okay, never mind, sir.
I will call you, Mr. Wilford.
Okay, and again, sir, I understand what you're trying to tell the court, but again, the question wasn't asked and you just can't blurt things out in the middle of a court hearing without a question or making a statement. I understand that you're saying that they did that in their office, and I know that the CPS has their own guardian ad litem, but once you're in court, that's something totally different. Because I can appoint technically Miss Todd is now the guardian ad litem in this case. She's the attorney ad litem, she's the guardian ad litem. So and that's official now. So and CPS doesn't have anything else to do with this case. Well, at least not here so far, and not this matter at this time. So let me get back to July. Sorry. All right. Oh, that's right. The 4th of July is on that messes up my Wednesday. So yeah, that's why that's like that. Okay. All right. I've got the afternoon. Oh, okay. For some strange reason. Okay. Check in with both parents at least 30 days out from that. And if you feel like that and get the court a written update before on that 30-day checkup, 30 days out, 30 days before then. And one of the reasons I'm looking at, if you're thinking I may need to order everybody to take drug testing, I may if I order drug testing, I order for everybody. So if you think drug testing is appropriate, we'll probably be looking at doing hair follicle on everybody at that point. But if not, I'll leave it up to you. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, folks, you're going to get a new Zoom code for July the 19th at 2:30 p.m. It'll be the only case I have at that time. So we can take up any and all issues. And again, if there's a problem, if something happens in the interim, as far as the visitation is concerned, either you contact Ms. Todd, and if she thinks it's necessary, she'll contact me. And at that point, if she's contacting me, that means I'm probably setting this thing up for a hearing a lot faster. So anyway, I'll start with you, Ms. Jackson. Any questions, ma'am?
No.
All right, Mr. Wilford, any questions, sir?
You said July the 19th?
Yes, sir. 2:30 p.m. You'll get an order that you'll be sent through DocuSign as far as this temporary order is concerned, and you'll also get a notice of hearing setting. There may be 2 separate documents. It may be in that document, but the hearing setting will have the date, time, and the Zoom code.